So, seen any good moves lately? Welcome back to episode 5, I guess, of the Big Brother 27 podcast. I never thought we'd make it this far, but here we are, and I'm here to talk about Big Brother 27, the week 4 recap. And to join me, we have the Big Brother Braniac herself. We have Bobby. How are you doing, Bobby?
I wouldn't say Bradiac, but I'm good. But I would also say I have not seen very good moves lately.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I was thinking for a while that we might be trending in an upward direction with, the current HOH because, things weren't terrible in terms of nominations, in my personal opinion. But hey, we'll talk about that as
We
we
talk
get.
about Mickey
No,
or
I was talking
Lauren?
about Ava. I was talking about Ava.
Oh, Ava. Oh, Ava.
Yeah. I mean, she
Yes.
technically, as we're recording this, has not made the nominations yet, I don't think. But, actually, I think the feeds are down
They're
right now.
playing.
Maybe.
They're playing veto right now.
Oh, well, whatever. Let's just move on.
I can spoil
Um,
that if you like.
yeah, I mean, we'll get
Uh,
into it. Yeah.
okay. You want me to wait?
Actually, you know what? Let's just
You want to start over?
yeah, let's just start over. Tell me. Yeah, I didn't like any of that. It
Okay.
just who won? Who won veto? I don't know. Do we know?
They're playing it right now.
Oh, okay.
You want me to tell you the nominations real quick?
Yeah, I mean it's Keanu. I assume it's Keanu, Vince, and Zach, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I've been paying marginal attention, but that doesn't mean that my brain's not bad. Um, all right. Anyways, I can just cut this whole part out. All right. Cop, cop, cop. Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, Kansas. All right. Restarting in 3, 2, 1. So, seen any good moves lately? Welcome back to episode number 5 of the Big Brother 27 Seen any Good Moves Lately podcast. Today, I am very thrilled to be joined with the Big Brother Braniac herself. Today, we are joined by Bobbi. How are you, Bobbi?
I'm good. Very excited to discuss this. I have a lot of opinions.
Well, I may have just, coined you the Big Brother Brainiac, but I have to ask Bobbi, what do you know about Big Brother? Do you know anything about it?
No,
No?
just
Well,
kidding. No, I have been I have been watching since the very first season when I
so
was 11 years old. So,
you're a bit of a historian in your own way because you know things about Big Brother 1 and nobody else does. Like that's a season that is a total question mark for most people.
it's a
So,
it's a season that's just different than any other season.
yeah.
I mean, they had like chickens and things.
See, I didn't even know that. See, I'm
Yes.
already learning new
That's
things.
how Chicken George got his name.
Interesting, interesting.
You know who that
Well,
is?
I not really, honestly. Um,
Perfect.
but that's okay. That's all right. I do want to ask you something that we can all talk about, which is, what are your thoughts on Big Brother 27 so far?
Hmm. Um,
A loaded
it's
question, I
really
know.
it is,
So,
yes, it's a very loaded question. It's very difficult um to watch at times.
mm-hmm,
There
mm-hmm.
there are a lot of bad moves happening.
Lately, yeah.
Um I'm a live feeder, so I feel like live feeders get invested a little differently than a casual viewer. So usually I'm very engaged with the show, but I'm finding myself where I can literally just leave it on in the background and do anything else. And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay if I just miss something because I'm just like, these conversations are very repetitive and there's not very much strategic value happening. So I'm a little
Yeah.
disappointed and I'm hoping things change around this week.
I really am surprised because, when I started this podcast, I said to myself, I haven't watched much Big Brother. I'll admit this fact. But, I expect, maybe a week or two of like, chaos and like, whatever else. And then we'll get some structure. And then it'll be like, okay, now it's sort of a numbers game in its own way. Or, at least it's a little more like
Yes.
streamlined. But you know what? That still has not happened. And I felt like I was feeling like, this might be the week. This might be the week where things come together, but I don't know if it has. I don't know if it has. So there you go.
Yes, that's why I'm very excited to actually talk about this week, I should say, with you, because
Mhm.
there was so much opportunity for so much greatness to happen, and it failed.
I think if you could sum up this season in 2 words, I think it would be missed opportunity, because
Yes.
every single HOH, so far has had the power to do good things and to, do the Big Brother thing of making nominations against people that are actively against you in the game. And so far, I think, precisely none of them have really done that. So, you know,
And they haven't, and they've had literally every opportunity to do so. There's
mhm.
nothing more they could have given to them.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I
okay,
think
some
there
of
we
the
go.
advantages are maybe with Jimmy, I will give him a little bit, but he still made a bad decision at the very end of that, but
Yeah,
we'll
I mean,
talk about
I
him later.
I can definitely sympathize with somebody like Jimmy who has to nominate 5 people in 1 week. Like, it is, not the most fun thing in the world, and it kinda creates the question mark of, like, is winning HOH as beneficial as maybe it used to be now with the BB Blockbuster, which I think is an interesting question,
Mm.
especially for me as someone who really doesn't know, like, I don't know what I would do if I was on Big Brother, like, what the optimal strategy for me, Joey Olberting, would be. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, Bobby, if like you want to win HOH right now with the structure in the house.
Um,
Another loaded question.
it is because so, for example, okay, so first tell me, what have you seen of Big Brother?
So I saw 25, 26, and 27, and then I
Okay,
went back and
perfect.
watched parts of BB2. So yeah,
Ooh, okay. Because of Dr. Will.
yeah, yes.
Yeah. So last year is when the BB Blockbuster happened, right? For the
Hmm.
first time ever. And everyone loved it. That's why they made it a permanent thing. Because I mean, the veto didn't even exist when Big Brother first started
Yeah.
initially. So I just like I could see like this transformation of all these different things happening. So it's cool for me to have something new happen like the Blockbuster. But last year there was more structure to the house.
Hmm.
So I think it worked a little better. This year I think you don't want to win HOH because there is no structure. You literally can't count on anyone to be on your team. Any big alliance that is created in this
Yeah.
house just instantly falls apart. For example, heavy hitters. I don't even know
And
what
heavy
happened. That's
hitters
version
too.
1.
Yeah.
2 lasted like 3 days.
Yeah.
Burger Boys lasted a week. They lost the bun and like they said no to lettuce wraps. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's just like in this house, and Rachel told Ava this recently on the live feeds, big big alliances do not work. So it makes it very scary to become HOA, I think, or HOH. Um not my job coming through. Um it makes it very difficult for these people to want to be HOH. I think they should not want to be it because there's nobody to really back you up when you have to nominate 3 people. If you
Yeah.
had a solid group that you trusted, then yeah, I would still want to be HOH. But for this group, I don't think it's something you should want to have, maybe, unless you're like Rachel or Ashley.
Well, here's sort of where I'm at in terms of thinking like, all right, well, what is the most powerful like grouping in the game right now? Because it's a huge question mark, right? And so I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking, well,
Okay.
Will, Ava, Ashley, and who's the fourth one? And somebody else. Like they're kind of together, like Mickey and Morgan. That's definitely not like a thing anymore. And Vince and Zach, it's like Vince is kind of throwing Zach under the bus right now. Who's the strongest like connection? It's got to be Riley and Catherine
I
because them working together is actively keeping each other off the block, which is disgusting. I mean, it's insane, but yeah,
literally everything every HOH has done is to make Riley and Catherine happy, and it makes me so mad inside because for me, I wish Riley could just be removed from the house. He
Yeah,
creeps me
I
out. He's
oh my god.
very I don't
Yeah.
know if we want to get all into that, but
No, we can. We can. Yeah.
I think that the way he talks to Catherine is very inappropriate, whether she likes him or not. It's a kind of emotionally abusive in a way, and
Eh,
it's
more
just it
than
should
in a
not be
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely is, and it should not be tolerated, and it's something to me when casuals are also seeing it
Mhm.
and not just the live feeders, because there's every year there is the Facebook people who are casuals basically,
Yeah.
versus the Twitter and now Blue Sky people, and they usually never agree on anything. This year, there's a mutual hatred for Riley, and the show has done everything in its power to make Riley look like a good old country boy, but people are still seeing through it because it's a creepy way he stares in the episode as he's touching her hair.
Oh
And
my
it's
god.
like, ew, even my mother, who's like, she loves all the underdogs. Okay. She was initially a Keanu fan until
Mhm.
he told everyone that he was coming after them. Like,
One by one by one. Yeah.
yeah, she didn't like that. Although she told me today that she wants him to win the veto. Um, but so I didn't get to tell you this, but I started watching the show with my parents.
Yeah.
So it's like a family thing. And my parents were always like casuals. They don't
Mhm.
want any spoilers. They hate it. So I kind of get to I get to see both worlds happening and then
Yeah.
explain like after the show like they're not showing. It's kind of cool. But yeah,
That's
even
cool.
my mother is seeing this episode and saying that he's a creep and needs to go.
Yeah. I mean, well, last week me and Abby talked about it for like a while. Like that was basically the big circle core of the episode is Riley sucks and we don't like him. And you know what? That has not changed in the week since. In fact, the worst thing about Riley, and there's a lot of things I could say are the worst thing about Riley, but to me, the thing that just infuriates me the most from a viewership standpoint is that he just doesn't stop. He I don't know how many times Catherine has directly told him no, and he's like, come on. It's like, oh my god, are you 5 years old?
Like
Stop.
public service announcement, no means no.
Seriously, like actually though. So,
It it's
yeah,
really and I don't understand because all of the house guests love him.
I know. It's
And
crazy.
but I don't know if they're also being emotionally abused as well. They have to be, in my opinion, because they also say they love him, but one conversation later will say they can never put Riley up or they can never put Catherine up because Riley will get angry and see red. Because there's been incidents in the house where he doesn't even remember yelling at people. And for me, that is a huge sign of a serious issue,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
emotionally with him happening. And that's not
Yeah.
good for anyone. He can literally explode at any moment and it could become like physical.
I totally agree. I was thinking about this like the other night. I was thinking like if I were in the house and I were HOH, obviously I would want to put Riley up probably because he seems untouchable by the rest of the house, but also I don't think people would be that mad if I actually did put him up. I think they'd understand. The problem would be with Riley, dot dot dot, but the biggest issue would be like is he going to punch me in the face or not? Because I mean that's a real thing.
It is a real
Uh
thing.
and I don't know if it's quite people realize that like they're kind of just scared of Riley parentheses not in the game way. I don't know if people actually realize that. I think people are looking at Riley through the lens of their showmance. I mean, part of that is Rachel has been almost campaigning for their love this
I
entire
know.
game.
That's only
But
because of her personal experience. And it feels like that's one of those things where it's like, I wish you knew like what was really happening, but I don't think she sees everything happening.
yeah,
There was some rumblings last night in the house, and we can discuss this later if you want,
yeah,
like
dude,
when
go
we
ahead.
talk
Yeah, we can
about
talk. Yeah.
um But there were some rumblings between some people that they would maybe put Riley up.
Yeah.
Ashley, Will, I think maybe even Zach said it. I don't quote me on that one, but there were a couple of times that people had brought up like, why aren't we putting up Riley? Because
Well,
they just realized, I think last night, that Riley and Kat again could be a swing vote for them, and they don't like that.
I feel like that question of like, what's the deal with Riley has been going around since like week 2 or something. Because like, I mean, going back to heavy hitters, he was in that, and then people were like, why is Riley here? He's not doing anything. But then that sort of question has just been forgotten about week after week, and then they're like, wait, why is Riley still here? Oh, whatever. He's in love.
Until this week when he started playing the game a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I
Sorta.
mean,
The
he's
most.
playing the game in this house is playing chess more than like literally playing chess, because that's what Zay did week 1. It feels like nobody's actually here to play Big Brother, and I know for certain Riley's not here to play Big Brother. He is here to play. I want to get laid. That's the game he's playing.
He literally said it. He
Yeah,
said
he
it.
said it multiple times. So
There's a
um,
casting issue. That's one of my problems with this season.
yeah, it's interesting because I feel like the casting. I mean, there's usually a miss or two every season, but like the past few seasons, I feel like it hasn't been that bad. But there've certainly been some big misses. But I don't know. I was liking the cast until I'm not, and I'm currently sort of asking myself, who do I like the most in the house? And it is a I don't know. Honestly, it's an I don't know.
Do you do
So.
Taryn's survey?
I do not do his survey, no, but I do listen to his podcasts.
Yeah. So I do a survey every week because usually it's every like Monday that he does it. And I feel like
Mhm.
I'm filling it out in Rage. And
Yeah.
then you're getting to the ranking, and I'm like, how do I rank people? And I don't like any of them. Like, I'm like, okay, Ava's kind of cool.
Mhm.
Rachel's my girl forever. I feel like Rachel and I are very similar people.
Mhm.
Um, and then Will's cool. And then I'm like, who else?
Yeah.
Although
I
Keanu is kind of growing on me a little bit.
yeah, he's kind of growing on me too, which is it
Don't tell
shouldn't
my mom.
it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't. But I mean, like, I'll just give you my perspective. I like Will because he's like normal and he seems to have a head on his shoulders, but also he kind of doesn't want to be there that bad, but also he does.
Oh,
I don't know. Well, he said in the
okay.
past, like this was a few weeks
Yeah, he
ago
did.
that
I know what you're talking about.
he wasn't. But I like Will, I guess. Morgan was my winner pick, but she's soured on me week after week, unfortunately. Um, Zach is fine. Ava is fine. People really like Ava. I think she's all right. Ashley's funny, but she would infuriate me if I was there. But I enjoy watching her on television. Um, Mickey really soured on me last week. Keanu, I don't know, and that's it. So there. Oh, and I like Lauren, I guess. Um,
Who's that?
yeah, that's a good question because you know, I missed her as well. So, but there's nobody that I'm like standing. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
so it's
I have
it's
some different
certainly.
opinions from you on that actually.
What'd you say? Sorry.
I have some different opinions than you on that.
Go ahead. Give
I
me
don't
your
know if you
thoughts.
want to go through each person or not.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
let's do that. That's
Yeah.
a great idea. And to help us do that, we have the help of our completely arbitrary graphic. One of my favorite things on this podcast. Today, I feel as if going up to down, starting with Vince, who I did not mention. So let's go to Vince and let's talk about
Didn't.
Vince. What are your thoughts on Vince, Bobby?
Vince Vince
Vince.
had he had potential. So
Hmm.
much potential. But for me, the problem is that he doesn't put forth any of his own opinions. He just constantly mirroring. And I think the mirroring works to a certain extent, and he's past it. He's over the line with it, and he needs to like solidify a side. He's too quick to turn on anybody.
Yeah,
And it's
seriously.
not good, but he had so much potential. He has such a good social game going. And I think that he's going to be in trouble in the next upcoming weeks, if not the next week.
Yeah. I mean, Vince is on the block right now. There's a chance he could go home. I don't really see it, honestly. I feel like he is definitely wear thin on a lot of people. But I still think for now, the gimmick of his Big Brother gameplay, which is what if I just agree with literally everyone, is still in a better spot right now than maybe some of the other people on the block in terms of like an obvious target. I feel like as long as he promises his allegiance to whoever is in power that week, he won't be the number one option for anybody. So that is weird about Vince. In the past, I felt like maybe like 2 weeks ago, I thought Vince and maybe Nikki were in like the best positions in the game. I certainly don't think that anymore. Um, Mostly because Vince, I just feel like he doesn't have anybody who really wants to work with him. It's just people are working with him. You know what I mean? If he disappears from the
Yeah.
role tomorrow, I don't know if the structure of the house will really be that affected. I mean, he's a number, but he's a number for everybody and also nobody at the same time. So,
Yeah, he doesn't contribute anything. I actually think that he needs to be able to take himself off the block this week, or he could be in big trouble. And that's only because of the powers in the game. Otherwise,
yeah.
I think Zach, the way he's melting down right now, Vince would be fine otherwise. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, Zach has that power.
That yeah, that is something about Vince is that he is well liked, comma I think maybe, but
That's the problem.
but he's well liked, which means nobody really wants to get rid of him. And also, like if you're the HOH, he's gonna pledge the allegiance to your HOH like every single day, and will be like, I adore you, and please don't get rid of me, sniff sniff. And it's like as an HOH, I feel like it's hard to make the move against somebody like that. Um, Maybe, especially if you feel like you have people who are actively campaigning against you, and Vince is just flip flopping to whatever side holds power.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I have my doubts about Vince actually going home this week because of that, but maybe people have really caught on to the gimmick once again of it just feels like this guy said, what if I agree with everybody and let's see how far I get.
Yeah. I do think that Rachel wouldn't have a problem with it. I think that she's been
Well,
on to
yeah.
him, and Ashley. But I try to remind myself that I'm looking from the outside. So even though I'm watching live feeds, it's still different being inside the house. It's like,
Hmm.
uh, okay, gonna give a Blood on Clock Tower
Sure,
reference.
sure, sure. Go ahead.
Say, Dwight streams the Monday games and we're all playing, and we used to like go back, at least I used to. I don't anymore because you get a lot of criticism in the chat because
Sure, sure.
everyone can see the grim.
Yeah.
So they think they know what you should be thinking and doing. And so if you don't do that, they're like, wow, why? I can't believe it, like that sort of thing. So I try to keep in mind that it's kind of the same perspective for myself. And I try my hardest to think if I was in the house. But yeah, Vince, I guess, could also, he does have the ability to kind of pull heartstrings, I guess.
Well, his ability is he has the ability to just like absolutely degrade himself to stay one more week in the house, which is something that
That's true.
I'll give him credit. Nobody else in the house has. Most people are so stubborn that they'll just continue spouting what they believe is happening in the house, even if there is direct evidence to the contrary. See Keanu
I didn't
and
about to say
Mickey
that.
this past week, and Riley, and to some extent, I don't know, like Ashley and Morgan to some extent, um, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. Um, and Vince is the only person that's really just like, I don't know. He's so apologetic. He reminds me of myself, but like,
Really?
no, not really. I'm not that bad. But I don't know. the thing is, as long as some people are buying into it, I think there's some amount of people that will always think Vince could be a number for them. While I think at this case, in at this moment in time, that's not the case for a lot of other of the house guests that have been more clear with what they think and what they want in the house to happen. Which, as you mentioned, Vince has not done like at all, even a little bit. So
Yeah, I think you have 10 voting this week if he stays on the block. So
yeah,
he only needs to convince at least 5 and Ava.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. Actually doesn't seem that impossible when you put it that way.
hmm but we'll see. So that's Vince. Next up is a few people who are gone from the house. Adrian is gone. Zay is gone. That's ZAE, by the way.
Bless his
Um,
heart.
and we have Jimmy. So Jimmy
Jimmy.
left last week.
Oh, Jimmy.
A real
I
shame.
could stand Jimmy at first, and he grew on me, and it made me so sad. Like I think a lot, and me and a lot of people were really rooting for him. And I think if he just made that first ball, he would have been fine, and he could have won that competition. But I feel bad for him. I don't think he deserved necessarily. He wasn't a perfect player, but I don't think he deserved what happened to him this week. I think that as far as the episodes, they took like a 2-second conversation and made it much bigger than it was. Um, and I do honestly think that he was one of the best allies for Mickey. And this is
Yeah,
one of the dumbest moves in history.
yeah,
I'm putting next
yeah.
to Marcellus using the veto, not using the veto on himself. Dumb moves. I don't know if you
I
know what that means, but that's bad.
well, I know generally what that means, though I don't know the move specifically. Um,
He didn't use
Jimmy,
the veto on himself and got evicted.
yeah, that seems pretty darn stupid if you ask me. Um, no, yeah, Jimmy was a victim of circumstance in this week, and the circumstance was, of course, what if your number one ally just like forgot how to play the game? And you know what? It's wild to me because like Jimmy, sure, I guess was playing all sides, comma or whatever, but he really wasn't, and it's not like he was keeping like a ton of information from Mickey and stuff like that. He was probably as transparent of an ally as Morgan was to Mickey, if not more so, because Morgan was in all these
Mm-hmm.
alliances uh that I don't think she mentioned to Mickey. So it's weird. In some sense, I was about to say I can understand why Mickey did it, but the further on we get through the week, I really don't because
Oh, okay.
I
I was like,
I
what?
no, I don't. I wanted to play devil's advocate, but it's pretty much impossible. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
would be all for it, but it's that bad of a move that you actually can't play devil's advocate on it.
No, you really can't. Like, um, I feel like the craziest thing about it to me is that Mickey has still not admitted that maybe it wasn't the smartest decision. Like up to today, she still says Jimmy was out to get us and Jimmy was a snake and Jimmy blah 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 blah. And it's like I don't know what to tell you. It's
Y- I think
yeah,
internally she knows though. I
yeah.
can I I pride myself on reading people, and there's been moments in conversations where I can just see her face like I
Well,
really messed up.
like Keanu and like well, I guess Keanu. I think it's obvious that she knows she's wrong, but she's just I don't know, she's become stubborn in her decision. Almost like how Jimmy was stubborn in his decision when he was HOH and just won't admit that, it was an not even that it was a bad move, but it was an imperfect move. She still thinks it's the best move for her game, comma, as long as they make it through this next week or
Can we
something
talk
like
about
that.
Jimmy's HOH real quick too?
Please. Yeah, yeah.
He is hilarious. Look, I understand 5 people crazy. I
hmm
get it. But he literally kept saying, I don't mind like considering other people, but you need to tell me other people. And just like, and people would tell him people, and they'd be like, oh, it's too early. It's too early. It's too early. Jimmy.
Yeah.
He's like he
Yeah.
like kind of passed the blame off on his alliance, and I could see where that frustrated Morgan and Mickey a little bit. But at the end of the day, he was still completely loyal to them, even if he was making bad decisions.
Yeah.
I think so.
If I wanted to play devil's advocate, which is still impossible, I would probably point to his HOH as being, a big red flag for his alliance, which I mean it was, but it wasn't a big enough red flag compared to literally everybody else in the house. So I don't know. Um, the thing is, like Jimmy saying, it's too early to do this and it's too early to do that. I mean, the move that was too early is taking out Jimmy. That is the thing that you did way too soon because I mean, Jimmy hasn't done anything really to provide evidence that he's against you, Mickey and Morgan. He's
He's a target before you on top of that.
exactly. Funnily enough, I think there are a lot of similarities between Jimmy and the person we just talked about, Vince, in terms of like kind of saying that, with the exception of Keanu saying, I will work with you, blah, 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 the quote unquote playing all sides thing. The difference is, of course, Vince is absolutely degrades himself at every possible moment to make himself seem beneath people. And Jimmy is like more of a normal person about it. He sometimes even in the beginning he was a little like he seemed a little larger than life. And I think that did
Yeah.
not work to Jimmy's benefit in the sense that I think he was kind of a target from the get go based on his theatrics and stuff like that. Like he was easy to be a target before people like Mickey and Morgan, comma. The problem is he shouldn't have been a target to Mickey and Morgan. So there you go.
And I'm mad at Jimmy because he promised us a lot and did not deliver.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
needed fireworks on the exit. That actually, I made a note about this. Rachel said to Jimmy, I think it was the day before he went out of the house, and he was asking her how he should exit the house and everything. And Rachel said, stay classy, not sassy. How do you feel about that?
I feel like I I am shocked. I feel like maybe Rachel is. My thought is that this is strategic from Rachel so that she can still be one of the most iconic fireballs in Big Brother history and
Oh,
won't have Jimmy usurp her. That is my thought. That is the only possible explanation I have. Otherwise, Rachel has lost the plot and is no longer Rachel Riley and is somebody else. So I don't know.
I need someone to ask her that when she gets at the house, why she said that, because we as viewers want the fireworks.
Yeah, yeah,
And I thought Jimmy would be all about that. It seemed like he wanted to be there to make content and everything. And I'm like,
certainly. Yeah.
fireworks. But he did also expose a bunch of things, at least in secret, to Rachel,
Hmm.
um, which is good. And he didn't just leave the house without revealing them. So,
Yeah. Well, Rachel's
points.
not on this graphic, so we may as well just talk about her now. Because I feel like Rachel theoretically should be in the best position in the house in terms of pure information, in terms of game sense, in terms of having the ability to play Big Brother, which most of the people don't. But I don't think she's there. I think there's some
Oh,
sort of limit on her from the rest of the cast that won't let her get that far into the game. We'll see if that changes, but I feel like everybody has this collective agreement that yeah, we can't really let Rachel get near the end. So I don't know.
yeah, she can't win twice. I hate it. I hate hearing that. So my history with Rachel,
Hmm.
um, BB12, I hated her.
Sure, a
Hated
lot
her.
of people
My
did.
dad loved her.
Mm,
But the problem for me though was that I'm a huge Britney fan.
yeah.
So it's like I had to take a side, right?
Hmm.
BB13, she was a little bit better. I mean, she always brought the drama and everything. I don't remember watching the feeds as much. A lot of my live feed was updates on this website called Morty. Pam actually brought it up when you talked with her.
Hmm.
I also watched that for my live feed updates because I was so young, so I had bedtimes and stuff, so I had to read a lot of things happening. But I think that Rachel and I are very similar people. Like, we're not afraid of confrontation, even if we don't know how to like have comebacks or anything like that. Like, we like to say what we think,
Yeah.
and you know, I don't know. We just want to play the game. That's how I would. I think I would be a lot like her in the game if I
Yeah,
was
I'd,
her.
I'd
But
agree with that. Yeah.
her coming in, obviously she's an automatic target, but I feel like the lack of knowledge about Big Brother in this house has them thinking about Rachel in all the wrong ways. Like, the only Rachel isn't known to be a strategic mastermind. We're getting to
Yeah.
like see Rachel be strategic this season, in my opinion, for the first time. Before, Rachel had to win competitions to get anywhere. She was always on the block.
Hmm.
And she's not, I think that she's actually not able to win them right now. I kind of feel bad about it. I think that I don't know if at first I thought it was an act, but now I'm thinking maybe it's not. But because the house guests don't actually understand her gameplay, they also don't know that Rachel is um a huge person to have on your team because she's very, very loyal.
Yeah.
That's her. She was not strategic. She was loyal to everyone that she said that she would be loyal to, and she just won competitions. That's all it was. And they think that she's just some strategic mastermind, and that's where they don't understand. And I
Well,
think that hurts her, unfortunately. But
I agree with you 100%. And I've been thinking that exact same thing for basically since week 2 or something, is that people have been understanding Rachel. But I think it's kind of come around in a funny way. I was talking about this, I think, last week with Addie, because people have this perception of, okay, Rachel is this master strategist. She's in the Mount Rushmore of BB strategists with Dr. Will and Dan, and she's so smart and she won, and she's which is obviously inaccurate. Dot dot dot. But in this house, that might as well be the truth because in terms of pure strategy, she is outplaying, I would say, basically everybody in the house. And comparatively speaking, yeah, I guess she's a Big Brother mastermind, which has accidentally made the prophecy, the inaccurate prophecy, somehow true, where people are constantly
yeah.
targeting Rachel for being so much smarter and more game savvy than them, even though that shouldn't theoretically be true, maybe it is. So they've reached the right conclusion for the wrong reason, which I think is pretty funny.
That is actually very true. That again, I have a casting issue with the like.
Hmm.
I'll
Yeah.
talk about it for each person. Don't worry.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, Rachel is probably in probably the top 3 best positions in the house.
You think so?
Well, I think about it like this. I think most people in the house have somebody that wants to actively target them, and like there's a good chance that they'll go home that week. I don't know if that exists for Rachel. I think as there's a pro and con to people being like, yeah, I want you on the jury, is that you may have a limit for how far you can go at the end of the day, but in terms of pure positioning, I don't think she'll go home soon. I don't even think she'll be put up soon, even though she'd be an easy person to put on the block, sort of like a Catherine, who I don't think is in a great position in the house for the record. I think she somehow stumbled into being like totally fine. Like a lot of people, a lot of HOHs are saying, oh, it's too soon to target Rachel because they put it into their mind that, we want her later on in the game. And by that point, hopefully there will be enough structure in the house and Rachel will be in with a good enough alliance so that she'll actually be able to make it through comma closer to the end. So there you go.
I love it. That is very true because we don't have a very strategic cast.
Hmm.
I think the further you let her go, the better she gets. I just personally, because I want her to do so well as like a BP super fan, like a real one.
Yeah.
Um, I get scared because they blame also everything on Rachel, but
Yeah.
usually it comes back to someone being like, "Oh no, actually this, that, and the other thing." But it's like for 12 hours, everything's Rachel's fault.
What's funny is that's the
This
case
just
for
makes
like
me
a
so
lot of
nervous.
people. Normally there's like one scapegoat a season, see your like Taylors or whatever else. Here there's like at least 4 of them. There's need to talk. Sorry. There's Ashley, who gets blamed for so many things. You have uh Keanu, who gets blamed for so many things. You have the aforementioned Rachel, who gets blamed for so many things. And lest we forget Kelly, who's also here and is also being blamed for things.
Can't wait to talk about her.
And that's not even talking about the people who are gone from the house, like Jimmy, who last week was also being blamed for absolutely everything. So it's weird. Kind of like I said before, other than Vince, nobody is taking responsibility for their actions, and Vince is doing it like 120%. He's going too hard in the "it's all my fault" sort of camp. So yeah. All right. Anyways, let's talk about the next person we have to talk about, and that is a person in the house. Believe it or not, her name is Lauren. What do we think about Lauren?
Who dat? Just kidding.
Good question. Yeah.
Actually, I think I have a hot take on Lauren.
Tell me your hot take.
I think Lauren's a dangerous player.
Yeah, I.
Do you watch? I don't know. I know you've been watching some live feeds, but have you seen her do her headstand? Do you see how she can do flips? Like physically, if they let her get to late game, I can see Lauren, even though she's annoyingly indecisive, I think that in physical competition, Lauren can be very dangerous. And that's dangerous also because she can't make decisions. But so I think that she's someone that needs to go and like maybe a double, maybe a triple if they do that for us, or something like that. But I think that right now she's non-existent. She can't make decisions. Kind of annoying to deal with that. She had probably the safest HOH so far, and everyone kind of loves her too. That's also kind of a good social, I guess, as well. I just think she's dangerous for long game.
I agree with you. I think Lauren is well liked in the house. People, underestimate her. They see her as, just this sweet girl, and she does seem very sweet. But
yes,
she's, which plays to her benefit, and she does seem physically strong. However, I do think there is one big problem that holds her back, and it's something that she's got to figure out, which is nobody gives her any credit whatsoever for like anything. Even her HOH, which was by all accounts not good, people were giving all the credit to the moves being made to Vince. They were saying, "Oh, Vince got in her ear, and he gave her the idea to make those rash decisions." They give more credit to Keanu than they do to Lauren, which is crazy to me. But everybody does see Lauren as this young, sweet, innocent girl who likes Big Brother and blah 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 blah. I don't think anybody sees her as somebody who has made any thoughts and has any thoughts in the house whatsoever so far. So if she gets to the end, regardless
of great for her,
it is like that's the thing. My problem is I don't know if she makes it to the end and is going up against, say, I don't know, Zach or whatever. I don't see how she would be able to pitch her case better than Zach because most people in the game have gotten more credit already than people like Lauren. And I know the game isn't over within the first 4 weeks, but I haven't seen much from Lauren to make me think she's gonna rise to the occasion later on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can see her playing for second place.
Yeah. That's my worry. Now, I do think if she gets to the end against somebody like I don't know, like Catherine or someone, she'll probably be able to win. I think she's well liked enough so that people wouldn't mind voting for her. But realistically,
if that happens, I've never watched the show again.
But realistically, that's not going to happen probably. And the people that she's closest to in the house are the people that would beat her in the end, such as a Zach and a Vince. So, and I know saying Vince would beat her is also pretty gross, but I mean, he's getting the credit for her moves basically. So, it's weird.
Yeah, and I don't think it's helpful. In my opinion, I think the show is also editing the men to be the mastermind this season. And
they are.
Put a bad taste in my mouth.
I agree with you. This is kind of something I've noticed talking about the show is like I've noticed that the people getting credit, other than like Mickey and Morgan, have basically all been the guys. You know, you look at the women outnumber the men in this house, but still, it feels very like, whether it's the editing or maybe the perceptions of people in the house, or maybe even like internalized misogyny or something like that. You know, like people are way more willing to give credit to guys rather than girls. And I'm not even just talking about Keanu or Riley. I'm talking about like
Mhm.
everybody.
Mhm.
So somebody like Lauren included, unfortunately. So I don't know. It
Which
bothers
is
me,
like a Jimmy
obviously.
thing. They blamed him, and most of the problem, in my opinion, was also Morgan. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they also view Morgan, I feel like, as somebody who is, you know, particularly ingrained with her because she was my winner pick, and I still, part of me does want to see her do well in the game and blah blah blah. It's like I feel like people are making out Morgan to be like this like she devil, like she's like evil. That's the perception I've gotten, even though like she seems just like a pretty normal person for the most part.
we
So
got opinions on her too.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But it
Yeah.
certainly bothered me is that part of it. I've funnily enough, I put most of the blame on that on people like Keanu and Riley for, you know, just kind of being misogynistic in their own ways. And I feel like that sort of influenced other people in the house, either consciously or subconsciously. But I don't know. Maybe it's
I think
more of
Zach
a
is a little misogynist too,
yeah.
especially after his nomination meltdown,
Yeah, well I
which is
haven't.
still brand new. So we,
Yeah,
haven't been able to see
I
all
don't really
that.
know the details of that, but I'm
I'm
sure
just a loser with no time. That's fine.
once I see it, I will agree with you.
Or with all the time, apparently.
But if nothing else, Riley and Keanu are far above the rest, and you know, I feel like some of the women unfortunately play into that as well. Like I remember Kelly in the initial weeks was very like I'm working with the guys and stuff like that, which bothered me from the get go. But you know, Lauren as well has also been kind of done that. So, which I don't think is bad by itself, but I think with the current house structure, it certainly doesn't help. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
think, yeah, I think Lauren was okay going with the girls, but she had, just a connection to some of the guys at the same time. But
even
Kelly have a different. We'll get to Kelly.
Even Catherine, who labeled herself before the season as a radical feminist, said after like 2 or 3 weeks that she was done with the girl thing. Essentially, no, she not essentially. She said that. So
Hmm.
it's a weird dynamic,
In
for
a
sure.
goodbye message, she said
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Um, anyways, let's move on to one of the most fascinating characters in the house, in my personal opinion. Ashley. What do we think about Ashley?
I love Ashley.
Yeah,
Look, Ashley is authentically herself and says what's on her mind. And as someone who is also very outspoken and sometimes says way too much and what that's on their mind very often, I just, in my heart, I love it. Also, she has most of the time very great reads,
yeah,
just not when she's reading a room. Otherwise, with people, she can read people pretty well. And she has the ability there. And it's funny because you know that she knows Hannah Shada from the cookout.
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, so they grew up together. They've known each other
Mm,
since they were like 3 or 5 or something. And she kinda is playing a similar game to her, which is hilarious. But Hannah, like, kind of learned along the way how to play Big Brother better and, like, fixed her issues. I think Ashley's being a little slower with that, but it's kinda almost the same thing. So to me, it's kinda cute. But, Hannah, oh my gosh, Ashley, uh she has so much potential. I just need her to read a room better, zip it a little bit more. I honestly don't get all the hate. I literally went on Blue Sky and I was like, why does everyone hate Ashley? And I think
yeah.
it still goes back to the stupid shower.
I was about to say, I think it goes back to her like refusing to clean the bathroom when Rachel was there. I think a lot of that stuff
I
like
mean, she
that.
did, but she just didn't do very good.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, she didn't know how to use a Swiffer wet jet or whatever. So,
That's her
um,
parents' fault.
yeah. Uh, I like Ashley. I enjoy her presence on the show.
Yes,
She
funny.
might be my favorite person to watch on the cast because she is constantly entertaining. She is authentically herself, as you said, but also she's like not bad at the show. All things considered, certainly not compared to the rest of the
'Cause
cast. There was a point, especially early on, when you could have made an argument that she was like one of the three worst house guests in terms of pure strategicness in the
Mhm.
house.
Oh,
But
I
she's
rated her low.
but
Yes.
I think honestly she has been improving her game sense week by week. I think she's gotten better at it over time. I think about just a few days ago when Nikki was on the anti Ashley train like nobody else. Nikki was saying, Ashley, you've been talking about wanting to keep Jimmy, and Ashley, you're going around and you're trying to campaign for Jimmy to stay, and it's like you can't do that. Um, and Ashley, credit to her, basically talked Nikki through it and said, "This makes no sense. I wouldn't ever vote to keep Jimmy in the house. I would never do that," which is funny. Um, and actually managed to convince Mickey when I think had it been Ashley week one, she would have kind of just not appeased Nikki. She would have been like, "What are you talking about?" Like blah blah blah. Now that is funny considering that she did vote for Jimmy to stay, but that's a whole nother matter. So yeah,
I love it.
yeah, it's great. I've never seen that before.
Me neither. It's first Big Brother history there. I've never seen anyone. I was like, I think everyone watching the show said, "Can you do that?" For like 5 seconds. I know I did. I'm like, what is happening? I love this though. But okay, so let me tell you something. I don't know. I may have already told you, but I'm gonna repeat it
Yeah,
here.
sure.
I had sent a skeet out that what Vince or Zach should do is throw a vote towards Jimmy if they were being strategic and blame Ashley for the
Yeah,
extra vote. And then she just went and did it herself. And then she was actually able to convince Mickey that she did not do that. And they're kind of now blaming it on Vince or Zach. It's like the
I
total opposite. I'm like, okay, I'm not mad because I didn't really want like Vince or Zach to do that. It's just like a strategy I thought in my mind because I mean, I just think of those little things for each person. But I really enjoyed that. Ashley is just great TV all around. I think that if they ever get rid of her anytime soon, it will be just a tragedy.
Yeah. You did tell me that, and I remember thinking at the time, like, "Whoa, that would be really smart." I don't know if they'd do it, but that would be a really fun theoretical thing to do. And then it kind of accidentally happened in its own way, because here's the thing: the combination of Ashley doing that, denying it, and somehow getting away with it, and Vince just constantly crashing out and apologizing for everything, I think just honestly helps sell it even more. Is like Vince is so wishy washy. We know he's flipped in the past on a dime. Like it's not that weird to think that he would just randomly vote to keep Jimmy because he's stupid. Like I think it works with narratives being sold because Vince, I don't know if he wants to look like the most pathetic wimp in the world, but he's selling it well. Um, so I think he's
Yep.
another person who
He's playing a big baby.
give it a week's time, Vince will be the scapegoat for all of people's issues. I see it happening. Um, and Ashley, I think, can get out of being a scapegoat for a lot of things,
I want
potentially.
to think that so much, but
Yeah,
Mickey has Ashley's name in her mouth. Like, we'll get to Mickey, but
yeah.
I just don't know what I just don't know. I think that Ashley's always. I mean, she hasn't gotten nominated since,
Mhm.
so she's doing something right.
Yeah.
But
I
it
think
also makes me nervous.
I think she's good at convincing HOHs to do what she wants, honestly. I
It's the
think
lawyer,
yeah, I mean this is why people were so high on her in the
and
preseason
the
is
cast thinks she's dumb, so they really underestimate her, which is her
Mhm.
advantage.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, I'll give her credit. Usually I think it's, dumb to say what profession you are, but in Ashley's case, I think hiding it has actually helped her out quite a bit. Um,
Well,
because
she
she
told
has
Will.
Yeah, I was about to say I said that, but I know that she's told somebody, but I don't think it's
What do you
spread
think?
throughout the house yet.
I don't
So
think he's telling anyone. I actually think that Will sees Ashley as like a daughter, even though he's like, girl, sometimes I think he's genuine, like, please just shut up.
yeah,
But I don't think he's going to tattle on her for that. Because
yeah,
he could have tattled on for the vote because he would know that probably didn't go through, right? I mean, she did go in
yeah.
there and try to change it, but I don't know. Like, there's definitely a chance that that's actually the vote. And he didn't
Well,
say anything. So I think he is on Ashley's side.
yeah, I mean, he hasn't really said anything about it, period, which tells me that like
Yes.
which tells me he probably knows that Ashley, if nothing else, tried to vote for Jimmy to stay, but is close enough with Ashley that he doesn't want to blow up her spot or ruin his game by hurting her game. So yeah. I like Ashley though. I honestly think that she could surge going forward. I think that she could come into her own. I really do.
Like,
Because
Ashley's my winner pick from the beginning.
there
I
you
got
go.
so scared. I mean, I'm scared every week because of her, but I was scared like strategically because of her. But then she showed me a little bit. I'm like, okay, okay, we might be okay.
I can see it now. Ashley winning in the end, the confetti and whatever else raining down on her, and the narrative being one of the best comeback stories in Big Brother. I can see it.
One of them. I don't know if you can top Taylor too much, but
Well, yeah, yeah.
because
That was
that, but I think the only person I'll be okay with winning at this point over Rachel is Ashley.
yeah. Even
Okay,
even
and I'm
someone
going
like
to put
Ava.
this little like, and we'll get there.
Okay.
I love Ava, but there's issues.
Yeah.
Keanu could also be a contender for that
Wow.
if he
Really?
doesn't act stupid. So we'll talk
Wow.
about him too.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going and let's talk about somebody who's also in this house, and let's talk about Catherine. Let's talk about Catherine. What do you think about Catherine?
Catherine isn't doing anything. She's not a threat. I feel a little bad for Catherine because the other day she was talking to Kelly in the morning
Hmm.
and she said something along the lines like, I'm not here, or I don't have a storyline anymore. I am Riley's storyline, which means that when she goes to the diary room, the only thing they're asking her about is Riley. And she's only had, since the last episode on Thursday, 17 total diary rooms on all the episode, which is less than some of the people that have been evicted.
Wow.
And 5 of those came from Wednesday, I believe, episode
Yeah.
alone. And it was
Wow.
all about the showmans. I think it maybe something potential about being the renom, maybe. But it makes me sad because I remember this time in Taylor's season where Monty, he went to a diary room and I guess they had been trying to push a showmance on him, and he came out and he told Kyle like he was frustrated because they're trying to push showmance on him.
Hmm.
So it's something the diary room does, and I feel bad because I think that Kat just there's nothing there left for her anymore. If she had, I think at the very beginning she was being very mean girlish, especially being a
For
raging
sure.
feminist.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I still kind of get from her in a way, but like there, as far as the game, like I think that's just over with for her, and it's very sad. And
For sure.
because I don't like this showmance to begin with, but the fact that like I don't think it's easy to get on Big Brother necessarily. And I don't even know if Kat knows anything of, oh, sorry, she doesn't like to be called Kat, by the way. It's Catherine. Catherine doesn't like to, or I don't even know if Catherine knows anything about the show because she wasn't, she's only on the feeds if it's with Riley and he's just being gross. And so you want to like, I don't even listen to it, right? And then she's only on the show when it's about Riley. So like, I don't know enough about her.
Yeah. Catherine is sort of a tragic figure in my eyes because I do think, she does have the sort of Mean Girls thing going on. And, it's kind of continued. I remember when Riley got nominated, she was being very catty and like abrasive to people, as she's been basically since the start. So I do think that that's really not helped her, and that's purely self-inflicted, is literally actually connecting with people. But I think most other things, it's just like it's a Greek tragedy of, just like things going wrong for Catherine. Because going into the season, what did she say? She said, "I'm not here for a showmance. I don't want to be in a showmance. I'm not here to be in a showmance." And she also said, "I am, a raging feminist, and I'll ride with the girls and all that stuff." And
Never did.
what has
Was the first one
happened?
opt out.
What has happened? The precise opposite. She has now been pigeonholed into a showmance by, I assume, initially doing it for purely for strategy, and now she's kind of stuck there. Um, and she's also with the issue that, like, oh, by the way, the person she's in a showmance with is the opposite of a radical feminist, like the polar opposite. So I think she's in a very tough spot, and Riley is basically not even letting her talk to other people to some extent, because he's just a bundle of sunshine. He's just the best. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, real tragedy for
I
Catherine.
think she'll make it to jury though.
Yeah, I do too, because nobody's targeting her. I'll say this
They
about
want
Catherine.
to. Last night, Keanu actually said to Riley, here's some tea.
Hmm.
When do you think you'll be dropping Catherine?
Wow.
This is how, like, these house guests don't understand.
Wow.
Like, and then he just left the room, like, basically after. Like, it was no big deal that he just asked Riley this. And he's like, I'm with her till the end.
To me, it is fascinating because you're right. People want to get rid of Catherine. People really wanted to get rid of Catherine since like week 2 or week 3, pretty much. Um, but at the same time, you look at the people around the house. Other than Zach with his cool, veto thing, Catherine's probably the most protected person in the house right now, purely because there's a guy who's going to literally throw his game away for her with joy. He'll do it happily. So
I mean, I wouldn't even target Catherine, though. Like, there's such a waste to
yeah,
me. You can
that's
keep
how
her
I
at the end.
feel.
Keep her
But I
there. She's
think
a mean girl. Okay.
I think that's how a lot of other people feel too. Is like, if I want to get rid of Catherine,
She's just a pawn star.
why would I not just get rid of Riley first? Because Riley is not, first of
The
all,
opportunity this week to do
he's not only the person who's physically stronger, and he's also the person who people like more. He's also just more well connected. And it's like, if you leave Riley out to dry after getting rid of
that.
Catherine somehow, he'll probably reintegrate himself in the house somehow. I would not be shocked. But if Catherine is let out to dry because Riley goes home, I think she is honestly just waiting to be voted out. I don't even know if she tries.
I
So
think she could still make it to the end to be booted at the end game, which hopefully not final 5 because of prize money situations, but we're going to talk about that later.
yeah. Um but no, she's in a very weird spot because even though there's not a lot of structure in the house, I feel like most everybody in the game has I have some sense of what they're doing. I have some sense of the direction they're going. I feel like they, in their own way, deep within their mind, are either playing the game or they're playing some other game, like Love Island in Riley's case. Um, with Catherine, I still feel like she hasn't even started. Like, I still don't even know what her MO is. I think right now it's allow Riley to throw his game away for me, but I don't know if she has any other like strategy beyond that right now.
I agree.
So it's Catherine.
That's Catherine.
All right, let's go now to Will.
Well,
What do we think about Will?
um, so I went back and forth with Will. I think
Yeah.
Will has okay, the first thing I love that he put his foot down about being a pawn. Everyone should do that because he would, in fact, have been going up there along with Kelly and Keanu every single week. We see it happen every season with older house guests. I think Will does pretty good strategically. A lot of people especially yesterday, feel very comfortable just saying everything in front of him. And he
Mhm.
has a way of agreeing without really giving too much opinion. That, though, could also bite him in the ass, I think.
Well,
Because I think you do need to I think he has his side, but I think that people will start looking at him sooner if he doesn't actually just say his side. So I'm a little worried, but I think he can make a jury.
yeah. Here's my thought with Will. I think that he right now is unknowingly being protected by an unknown source, something that he will not realize until way later. I think he's being protected by Vince, and here's why I say that. Because
Oh,
Vince is playing a very similar game to Will in the sense that Will, like Vince, kind of agrees with everybody and kind of plays a lot of sides, though Will definitely has more structure than Vince does. I
that's
think as
true.
soon as Vince goes home, people will look at Will more as like, oh man, he's kind of doing the same thing Vince was. I think as long as Vince is the scapegoat, and as I said before, I think he will be the scapegoat going on. I think Will be protected because he won't be looked at as doing the same thing as Vince. And so I don't think that's something people will realize. I don't think he'll realize that. I don't think any of his allies will realize that. But I'm
Mhm.
calling it now. I'm saying the moment that Will gets actual heat on him, beyond like we got to take care of Will eventually, comma or something, is when Vince goes home, which I do think will be before Will at this stage.
Oh.
So
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, I think that he has Ashley as well as Mickey Morgan and definitely Ava, and
mhm.
I think Rachel as well. I think that he's in a lot of final 3, 4s,
Well, that's
and
sort
it's
of the
with the right
problem.
people. It is a problem, but it's kinda with the right people in a way too. It just could, at the end game, really the end middle-ish, really bite him, I think, and he will, I think, become a pawn, at
Yeah,
least.
I think that's kind of what I'm getting at with fewer words is I think Will be the Vince of later on in the game,
That makes sense, yeah.
which
I
is
like
it
that.
sounds like an insult, but it's not necessarily an insult. It could actually be good for Will's game, comma, depending on how he plays it and depending on how he
Yeah.
plays. Because for a while, Vince was in like one of the best positions in the game, despite agreeing with everyone, and that's
Well,
it. So,
you think Will's doing it better than Vince?
oh, for sure, yeah. Because
Because Will
I
has
think
opinions.
I
He
think
puts it.
yeah, Will has opinions. Vince certainly, pleads and begs for forgiveness more than Will does, which I think,
Yes.
and some depending on the person you're talking to, can be a benefit or a big con. Um, I think Will seems more like a normal person who people get along with more than Vince, and people do get along very well with Vince. But I mean,
Mhm.
in terms of when it comes to strategy and comes to talking about things, Will is willing to push for what he wants a little more than Vince, who just is like, yeah, yeah, no, that's a great idea. Where Will, it's I feel like people understand he has a head on his shoulders, and nobody sees him as a snake. They see him as you know a normal older guy, and I think that's good for him. So
Yeah, I wanna see him make it a little bit further. I've seen a lot of older people play the game and get decently far, but I think I do need Will to get some wins too for comps.
yeah, I mean
I think he's
my Will
capable.
stocks have risen a lot over this past week. Um,
Oh,
But that being said, I don't think he's necessarily in the position to say win or anything. But um, I do think he makes jury at this stage. I do, and
oh,
I think I could see him going out like maybe final 8 at the earliest. Honestly, so yeah,
Uh, last 24 hours have been so fun watching him. Like, he is Mr. Popular in the house right now with Ava's win. He's been hiding in bathrooms, listening to
I did
conversations.
see
So
that. Yeah.
I I love that from him personally. So I'm like, okay, Will, do your thing.
All right, let's talk about the next person here, and that is of course going to be Zach. What do we think about Zach?
I've lost a lot of respect for Zach in the last 24 hours. But
Yeah.
before the last 24 hours, Zach was in a great position.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually concerned that he would never have to reveal he had a power until the very end. And inside, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Actually, have a real surprise. Maybe we'll actually keep it to himself, and everyone in the cast will be surprised on finale or something. Because it normally doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Like some people know about the accomplice now, and I was like, oh, dang. Um, but Zach's problem is that he hasn't really done too much. I mean, he has a good social game, but it's also a very passive gameplay in my opinion.
Yeah.
The only good thing right now, it says he is on the block this week by Ava, is that he has his power. And his power can really make this week a little crazier than it would have been. So
Yeah.
I don't like the way he's acted about being nominated. It's like almost as if he forgot he had the power at first, or he just really didn't want to give his money away to anyone.
I think that's
Um,
it. Yeah.
a lot of entitlement. I'm a little surprised, honestly. I thought that he would take it a little better. I don't think he was a target, and I think that he's making himself more of a target. If he just kept his mouth shut, there would have been a lot more heat on Keanu and Vince than him. And he could have probably stayed on the block and been safer. But now I don't know. A lot. It's really gonna be up in the air with him.
Yeah. Zach is in a really weird position, in my personal opinion, because he does have this power. So theoretically, barring disaster, he will stay safe this week. But I think, regardless, honestly, of whether or not he has to use that power, his target, like his amount of a target, just shot way up, and it's probably going to be super high for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
Um,
I
which
agree.
I think it makes sense. I think it's only a matter of time. I think one of the best things for his game, whether or not he realizes it, is Zay, that ZAE going home week one, because not only did that help weaken the
I
bros,
agree.
which
Yeah.
people were scared of, but I think this is a real thing. Zach getting super emotional and crying about it, I think made people more endeared to him. I think it helped open him up as like, oh, this guy isn't just a bros bro. He's I don't know, maybe I'm looking into
Yeah,
things.
I agree. It did.
But I
I
think
just don't know if personally would have worked on me, but it
well,
did.
sure, yeah. I mean, I would like to think it wouldn't work on me either, but who's to say? Um,
On the outside looking in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyways, I think that helped Zach a lot for the first few weeks. But I've said it on this podcast before, and I'll say it again. It's only a matter of time before people start seeing Zach for what he is, which is a former professional baseball player who is the most physically fit guy in the house, who is well liked by people, and you know is
I think
Zach.
he had one of the stronger alliances though in the house too with Vince and
Yeah,
Morgan. And
he
it's
did.
weird because they didn't realize they were being seen that way. They're just friends. Okay, it's Big Brother. Nobody is just friends and not
Mhm.
allies like that. I don't know where this came from. Very bizarre. But I think that he has a strong group, and they could stay a strong group if all the right pieces fall in the right places right now. But I am rooting for their downfall on a personal level.
Yeah.
But I think he'll
I
continue to be a target if Rachel or Ashley becomes um, head of household.
yeah. I will also say this about Zach. I think another thing that was working to his benefit is there was another, on paper strong guy who was getting the heat from everybody, which was and kind of is still Keanu. And I think Keanu constantly being at the forefront of this is the guy winning competitions and he's, spreading chaos throughout the house and he's the strong guy who can win out or whatever else. I think that helps Zach. That's a strong guy to get rid of before him. But the table is kind of flipped on Keanu. Like he's still on the block this week, but I feel like he is not in the same position he was the past few times he was on the block, which I think has
I hate it.
I
I
wouldn't
love
say
it and
it's
hate it at the same time.
I wouldn't say it's helped Keanu like get out of the position of yeah, this guy's going to be on the block every week, but I think it's helped him not necessarily be the target next to Zach theoretically, which is funny.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, my Zach stocks are plummeting. I don't think he's in the I wouldn't even say he's not in a terrible position because I feel like the honeymoon phase is over with him being in the house. I feel like people realize that he is a threat now. So I kind of think it's sooner rather than later he goes home.
What do you think about his advantage?
I mean, the thing is, if I were in Zach's position, I would try desperately not to use it. I would go all out for the veto, and I would not
Mhm.
want to spread it because to me, it's like I theoretically I like the idea of like, yeah, I haven't told anybody that I have this advantage, but I also feel like if he uses it and takes himself off the block, it'll cause some chaos for a while. But it also makes me wonder, like, okay, what will the allies who are already getting kind of skeptical of Zach, like Morgan, think about him keeping an advantage from her and everybody else? You know, I don't know if that's a real
Yeah,
concern to have, but
I
like
think it is.
that's what I would think, especially with some of Zach's allies do seem to play a little more, on the who do I currently have the most reason to trust, and maybe are a little more emotional. Like Morgan is a pretty emotional player, especially when it comes to Zach. So I don't know if that would necessarily help his game. So if it's a good advantage, obviously, especially if Zach keeps being in hot water, which I suspect he will. But I also think there's a decent chance he'll just have to use it this week, and he'll be in a worse position going forward. So,
Okay, so as we discussed, it's Keanu, Vince, Zach on the block.
mhm.
Say, for whatever reason, Zach wins the veto, right?
Yeah.
Naturally, you think he just use that and keep the other one in his pocket, right? But what if he takes it to take or uses it to take Vinny off the block
Hmm.
and then uses his power so that he can keep one of his closest allies? Do you think that's a good move? Because in my opinion, that just puts Lauren and Morgan on the block, which doesn't. It's kind of it cancels each other out in a way because they're also his allies. But what are your thoughts on him doing that?
I mean, honestly, from an outside perspective looking in, I would say that it's a bad move because Vince flips
Mhm.
on a dime and he's not close to everybody. Honestly, I think Zach should be saying that Morgan is a more important ally to him than Vince because Morgan, uh, regardless of what you think, she's becoming more and more of a free agent in her own way.
Mhm.
She's less close to Mickey than she ever has been. It feels like, and that's saying something. And
Mhm.
I feel like Morgan. I mean, she thinks that she's close with Vince and Zach. I feel like Zach needs to get closer to Morgan, not necessarily in a showman's way, but in like a I want to actually work with you sort of
Mhm.
way. But I don't think he's going to do that because I think he still legitimately thinks that Vince is on his side 100%. So,
And
eh,
he's not.
yeah, he's not. Vince has only thrown him under the bus this week, ever since they got nominated. So, which is so unsurprising. That's just like Vince has his gameplay has been pleading to people for their forgiveness and throwing people under the bus. That has been his entire MO this season. It's been I'm gonna throw Kelly under the bus for the first 3 weeks. This last week, I think he threw Jimmy under the bus kind of hard. Um, and this week it's been Zach so far. So, you know.
The thing is, Vinny didn't try to at first until he realized it was him or Jimmy, and then he was like, "Oh, so when his back's against the wall, you cannot trust him."
Yeah. Yeah. Um all that to say is that I guess I would like Zach not to use it on Vinny, but I think he would. So
Yeah, I actually don't think he will.
you don't think so?
I hope not. I hope that was just a moment of like. I mean, I don't know why I keep thinking the best of everyone, but I think that Zach. You know what? He probably will. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to think these people are strategic. They're not.
Yeah. Speaking of people who are not strategic, Riley is here. Do you have any other thoughts on Riley? We kind of talked
I don't
about
want
him
to
a
talk
good
about
deal.
him no more.
All right, like we can move on. Next up we have Keanu. Um, Keanu is in a weird position himself, but what do you think about Keanu?
I hate him, but I don't know. I hate where I feel like right now, where I'm rooting for him right now to win the power veto, so that he can. Well, actually, I'm not necessarily rooting for him to win the power veto. I only want to see one renom because I think Zach will use his nomination. I don't want Ava to do anything crazy. I'm scared. Normally, I'd be like, yeah, he gets off the block there, Lauren and Morgan up. The whole team's up there, but I can't trust these people. So
Yeah.
I I just wish he wasn't so delusional. He has
Yeah,
good reads, and then he takes it, and then he has all the wrong reads after, and it becomes like one big mess of reads. Like he has potential, but then he just gets so caught up in his ego and it becomes a delusion and it's just so hard to watch. And he's a little condescending when he talks to people, very
a little.
mansplaining.
Yeah.
He's kind of I think he's kind of gross. He farts in the kitchen. He doesn't wear shoes. His feet are always dirty. I think if, as living with him, I would be in the mental hospital because I couldn't handle it. But
Yeah.
he's an underdog, so then I see because I am human and he's human. Then I see him doing little things like today where he's giving himself like positive affirmations and everything to like kind of boost his spirit up and everything. And I'm like, oh, there's human there. But then it's like he says something stupid and I'm just like,
Hmm.
I don't know. But I really wish him. I think that if Rachel worked with him, it would be a good alliance.
Yeah, I think so.
But he is so caught up in his solutions that he is hurting himself because Rachel is probably his best ally if he let it happen.
Um, yeah. So Keanu, I agree with everything you're saying. I think Keanu, his biggest enemy in his house is himself. And
Yes.
earlier I mentioned that, it feels like Vince is like a gimmick where his gimmick is I want to agree with everybody in the house and we'll just see how far that gets me. I feel like Keanu also has a gimmick, and I'm pulling back up the graphic because I think his gimmick is the face that he's making in his profile picture. This like weird like shrug thing. I feel like his gimmick is what if I did that as a strategy in the house? What if I just went and then
I'm
that
just
was
saying, man.
I'm you know, and that was his gimmick in the house. Is just doing that and seeing how far it gets him, which it has gotten him far further than it should have. He should have been gone instantaneously. He should have disintegrated as soon as he walked into the house, but he's still here, and I feel like he's gonna continue to be here for a while. Honestly, um, in his
Yes.
own way, he reminds me of Angela from last season in terms of like I don't know why you're still here, but I'm glad that you're still here, and you think that you're a lot better at this game than you actually are. So, yeah.
Do you think he can get better at the game?
Um, well,
Is there potential?
kind of like Ashley, I feel like to some extent he has gotten better. Like
Yeah.
there's this whole thing with Ava and the veto winning from last week, and even though Keanu, from what I can tell, didn't really do anything wrong, really.
Yeah.
He went around and was super apologetic and it was like, I apologize and I'll be better and all
Cried.
that stuff and crying. And it's like, I don't think week one Keanu would have done that. I do
No.
think part of that is sort of the situation he finds himself in where everybody kind of dislikes him, unfortunately. And so he's sort of had to become apologetic and all that stuff, which I feel bad for him. But
I do feel like can you imagine nobody clapping? I don't know any time of all the Big Brother I've seen in the last 25 years. That number's
yeah.
crazy. That I've seen no one clap for someone. Like how like you're already isolated in the house. He's already mentioned a few times that nobody's talking to him. Everyone's
Hmm.
kind of like ignoring him. He's by himself. Like even though he's caused some of these issues himself, yes, like mentally that has to be doing a number on him. And then you win this veto where you know your back's on the line and no one has reaction. It's just crickets. Like I feel
Hmm.
for him that he's getting his positive affirmations today because he knows like it's him. There, I think I'm thinking though at least the good thing that the good outcome from that situation happening, as much as good TV it was too, of course. I think that maybe it was a little bit humbling for him, and I think he needed to be humbled
Yeah.
to be a
I
better player.
I agree with that. Well, it's funny in its own way that nobody clapped for Keanu because it's a big question of like, okay, well, why would nobody clap for Keanu? Like, don't you want to be happy for him? And then you think about
Where's
the
my
event,
allies?
and then you think about the events of this past week, and lest we forget, Jimmy being targeted for clapping in terms of celebrating, I believe it was Keanu winning the veto last week, and Nikki was like, why was he clapping? Why was he clapping
Mhm.
for it? That seems weird to me. And so I don't think those things are actually correlated, but it's a weird little like irony coincidence thing that I picked up on.
I think they are. That's one of my things on my notes here is that there seems to be a mindset that you have to be in line with whatever the HOA wants, and if you're not, then you're gonna be scrutinized for it.
You said
And
HOA again.
oh my god, HOA.
Anyways.
Um, I'm an accountant for an HOA company. Anyways, um, anyway, okay, so what was I saying? Oh, so there seems to be a mindset that everyone needs to do with the house. That's not even a house. HOA wants you to respect their wishes, or you're gonna be scrutinized for it. Until yesterday, when Morgan, who was one of those people, was like, "I can't talk to my friends because they're on the block." That's not a thing. That's not a
Yeah,
thing. You shouldn't be. People are still humans, and you should be congratulating them. I'm sure Jimmy was probably just saying that a little bit, but at the same time, Jimmy's a showman. He's going to do all the things you're supposed to do. I
mhm,
would not have put that like as a negative on him. And I think that having good sportsmanship is important as well. So I don't like that mentality that's going around the house right now. Like it's very like I don't want to say it's soft bullying. I don't even know what that means, but that's a word that's going around. But it's
yeah.
very like you think it is. I don't know. I think it's just like a intimidation tactic.
I think for sure it's like if it bullying might be a strong word, but it's definitely like,
Yeah.
shouts at bowling for soup, high school never ends. Like it definitely feels very clicky in its own way,
Yeah. It's
where
sad.
it's like I wouldn't even say that there's like a consensus popular table necessarily, like at lunch, but there are definitely the quote unquote loser tables. Like these are the people you don't want to talk to, and if you interact with them and if you're friends with them, your social standing goes down. And I feel like for there have been a lot of people who have actually fallen into that camp. Ashley at parts of the season has been in that camp. Catherine at parts of the season has certainly been in that camp. Keanu and Kelly have been in that camp basically the entire season.
Mhm.
Um, so it's weird. Even Zay, like near the end of week one, was kind of in that position, which is a little weird in his own way. Well, that was kind of just like half the house, but half the house is like, you shouldn't be talking to Zay. So
That's when the girls were the strongest.
yeah, yeah, and they're valid for that. But that's all to say that yeah, Amy and Rachel have been in that position too, where they've been like, you shouldn't talk to them. It's really weird, and
I love that Rachel stood up for it this week. She's like, "I'm going to talk to my friend. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with that. I'm gonna
no,
vote."
there's
Like,
not.
who cares? He doesn't have the votes. Why are you guys being so mean?
Yeah,
It's the mental. I don't think these people are necessarily like that in their regular lives. It just shows you like the mental gymnastics and warfare that's going on in these people's minds right now. Like
yeah.
it's crazy.
It's yeah. I mean, even people who you would assume like wouldn't be subjected to like ostracizing other people and sort of like shutting them down, like Vince and Ava. Like Vince constantly says, "Oh, I'm an introvert, and I'm so popular, and I've been all my friends are from first grade and stuff like that." And it's like you would think that he would like recognize this happening to other people and like talk to Kelly more. But if anything, he's one of the people who shuts off people like Kelly the most. So
Mhm.
I don't
You
know.
know, I do want to give props though, because we didn't bring this up with Lauren
Mhm.
earlier. There was a bashing session going on with Ashley a few days ago. And Lauren finally spoke up, said, "Hey guys, that's I like Ashley as my friend, and can we just quit it?" And they
Yeah,
did. And I was so glad that she did that because it was a lot. It was really disgusting. Not as disgusting as season 25 Bobbi, Jane, Matt, and Jag thing with
yeah.
Miss Felicia, but it was getting to be like really cringe, and I was just want to give her props for that.
I find it, I have never been on Big Brother. I assume
What?
throughout the rest of my life I will never be on Big Brother. But it does
What?
surprise me oftentimes with Big Brother specifically. I get that there's nothing else to do in the house except interact with people, but like I'm surprised that people will literally spend like hours just bashing one person. Like I'm so surprised by it because I
Every
don't know.
season, especially at the end
It's every
game.
season, and I don't know. It's gross. Like that's the thing. I've seen a few
They need
seasons.
cards.
I've seen a few seasons of Big Brother at this point, and it's like it's around when that sort of bashing becomes like super normal that I usually like get turned off by a season and kind of just want to stop watching. Personally speaking, we haven't really gotten there this season, though. Of course, there's a lot, but it almost helps that it's
I've
spread
never seen
around
it this
so much.
early.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's scary.
And
Let's see.
I don't know, it's a really weird house dynamic, especially with the stuff that we were talking about
Very
earlier with,
much
like,
so.
the misogyny or, like, the internal misogyny or whatever else, combined with the high school dynamics and the clickiness of it all.
And the
It's
girl power on top of all that. It's
but
like
even
a
still,
bunch of
the girl power feels like such a background thing compared to everything else, you know what I mean? Like,
the
this
girl
show.
power is like Mean Girls, but they're kind of aligned, but they're not, and they're just like so catty and bitchy with each other. But sometimes they just have their backs. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
mad at it completely, just because I want a girls thing to happen. It
Mhm.
never has, and this is closest I think we've gotten in at least a
Yeah.
long time. But I don't know, it's a weird dynamic, like you said. It's like
It's super weird because
very
like
weird.
you think about where the season started and it looked like when Zay went home, it would be like, oh, it's gonna be like a boys versus girls thing, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more, complicated than that, of course, but
Yeah.
basic vibe. And since then, it feels like every week it's just been like, okay, what new house structure can we just like forge out of nowhere?
Yeah.
And
Dig it.
I don't even know where we are right now.
I don't know
Um,
either.
I couldn't even like quantify it. I guess it would be like Revenge of the Nerds or something like that, since all the people who seem to be on the bottom seem to be doing better now, and the popular kids, quote unquote, are in worse positions. But I have a feeling that will not last. So it's weird. Um, all right, well that's Keanu. Um,
Good old
next up,
Keanu.
yeah. Next up, let's talk about Morgan. What do we think about Morgan?
Look, Morgan was a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Gamer girl.
Sure.
Supposedly seen some Big Brother.
She said that. Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately for Morgan, she got a
Mm-hmm.
crush.
Yeah, she does.
I think she had maybe I will never know. I'll never know because the crush just happened so fast. I think she had potential possibly, but I don't see a lot of strategy come for her. I think she's just constant. First of all, she doesn't stop talking. I don't know if that's because she's a content creator, so she's used to just talking.
I bet that's part of it. Yeah.
Right. But she has a huge ego, first of all. She loves herself, which I guess is good, but a little too much. And the strategy, I'm not seeing the strategy from her. It's just more paranoia, constant talking and gaming, and she doesn't take a break. And I think that her loyalties also have always been to Vince and Zach. And I mean, sure, the girls had her vote at the end of the day. I take that back. I don't know about Morgan. I think that Zach at least would have won over Vince for her, but
Yeah.
she's just not what we thought she was gonna be, unfortunately, and she's gaming too hard.
I want to ask you a question as a Big Brother historian. Um, People who go into the house and say to the cameras, before they walk in, I'm looking to get into a showmance, like Morgan did. Have they done well? Do people who say that do well? Are there any examples of
So
somebody
they become
saying,
Catherine.
I want to get into a showmance, actually won? Because that's sort of what I'm feeling with Morgan. Is she went
I
into
don't
the
know if anyone's really no. I mean, I guess people have said that, but no.
I
No
because
one.
I feel like Morgan went into this game. She was like, "Yeah, I want to win. I want to be a Big Brother winner, but I also want to find the love of my life." And I feel like that's kind of overtaken some things, unfortunately, for Morgan.
Joey, I
Um,
forgot about that. Now I'm
yeah,
insulted.
Yeah, she did. She did say
That makes
that.
me so angry.
Mhm. I have not forgotten it because once again, I have had more stock in Morgan than I have any other contestant, and I've tried to see past her faults, as she sees past her own faults, um, but I can't do it anymore. I've,
Morgan has seen a lot of Big Brother though.
I mean, so has Lauren, but that doesn't really
Binge
mean
watching
anything.
the episodes that are terrible.
Yeah.
It does
Um.
nothing.
Mhm.
You think she'll win the Wall Cup?
I I don't know. Morgan, says
I hope
she's
she
like
falls first.
she was like, she was upset that she placed second or third in one of the previous veto competitions and was really upset that she lost because she's a competitor and she's an athlete. Um and she was really distraught about it. I don't know who will win the Wong Cup. I think Lauren could. I think Lauren could win that. I don't know.
Lauren is a huge contender for that.
Yeah.
Riley, possibly. I think to ride a bull, you have to have a little bit of grip strength, but I think she's also
Yeah.
very tall, which has been troubles with the handles for tall people.
Mhm.
Um uh yeah, I think Lauren's taking that unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Morgan really this is something I've said about Morgan for the past 2 weeks, but I'd like to update my thoughts on it. Is for the
Okay.
past 2 weeks I've been saying Ava and Morgan are kind of two opposites in the sense of Ava's perception versus for like what her floor could be versus what her ceiling could be are really wide. Like people perceive Ava as being a really weak player, such as Zach, who says she's not doing anything in the game, when in reality she's maybe arguably maybe up until this week, the best strategic person in the house in her own way. Meanwhile, Morgan, some would say that. I would not agree with that. Some have said that. Haha.
Okay.
Morgan, meanwhile, I think is sort of in this weird position where everybody recognizes that she's this, strong athlete, social, pretty, like person. Um, and she has sort of this strategic vibe. I think people always think that she's thinking, even if she's not. And so her floor and her ceiling are very similar. Where I don't think people will ever really view her as like a goat, as somebody who's not doing anything. I think they'll
Mhm.
always sort of view her as like a good player no matter what. However, I think Morgan is playing below that right now. I think she is worse than what her perception is as a player in the house. I think people think that she's playing better than she is, and that she's more strategic than she is.
She
So,
has a lot of influence, but she has no loyalty to well, she does have
but
loyalty,
she wants
but
loyalty.
yeah. Yeah. She's
She
she's trying to play 2 different sides.
I think she thought that, Mickey was gonna be her number one, and that has slowly faded over time. And she's at points, of course, wanted Zach to be her number one, husband, and other such things. But I feel like Morgan, those feelings, both personally and strategically, have not been reciprocated by many people. Which I think is sort of a similar
Yeah.
problem that Rachel has, but Rachel has actually been able to play through it where, when Amy went home, people wanted to kind of keep Rachel at like arm's length and not get too close to her. But Rachel has been able to play past that and has formed tight connections. I feel like that same sort of thing is with Morgan because, as we talked about before, theoretically, Zach should be working a lot closer with Morgan than he is, but I feel like he's kind of keeping her at arm's length.
Because the crush issue.
Mhm. The
That's the
only
only reason he's
person
doing that. I
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead. No,
No,
yeah,
I was
I'm
gonna
done.
say that Morgan, I don't think Mickey was what Morgan wanted to be her number 2. I could be wrong, of course, because I can't really tell what Morgan's doing at this point, but
Yeah,
she literally said to Mickey last week that Vince was her number 2. Like, to Mickey.
wow.
And because Rachel was trying to tell Mickey that between Morgan, Vince, and Zach, Mickey's at the bottom of the alliance. And Mickey's like, no, I'm not. She got mad at Rachel about it, this whole thing. And then Morgan, like, literally told her that.
Yeah,
And it didn't register in Mickey's mind. I have theories on that. But I just don't know. I can't tell. But I think that's part of the problem. We can't tell where Morgan's loyalties are.
mhm.
I
Well,
don't know.
the more I do see Morgan, and I've also mentioned this on prior podcasts, but I need to mention it again. The more I'm excited for her to be on the challenge in 2 years, because
Yeah.
that is where she will really thrive. As somebody who's currently also watching this current season of the challenge, and I'm really enjoying it so far,
Mhm.
um, I can't wait to see Morgan on there. It'll be great. Uh, but until then, she's on Big Brother,
What
and
about
she's
Keanu?
making. Oh man, that I didn't think about Keanu on the challenge. That would also be great. Wow. No, that's great. But the thing is, I love the BB women on the challenge. I think that even if they're not always like sometimes they kind of fluctuate in terms of actually being good at the challenge, but they're always
Mhm.
entertaining. The BB guys on the challenge, on the other hand, are usually get kind of far and are annoying, aka Josh Martinez. So
He's
I don't
annoying
know.
in the game too, the Big Brother.
Yeah, he's just annoying. I mean, full stop. But also like what is it? Polly. He's on the challenge
Yeah.
sometimes.
Holly's also problematic in Big Brother
Well,
as well.
problematic in real life.
Yes.
There's Fessy, who's also kind of annoying, and he's on the
He was a
challenge.
word yeah, he was bad
Yeah.
at Big Brother.
So, you know,
Yeah, you're
uh,
right. The women are better.
I could see Keanu fitting into that camp, unfortunately, especially considering, the once again the sort of misogynistic things going on with him. That being said, he would also probably be entertaining on the challenge. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Take the bad with the good.
I think Keanu has some potential for that.
Yeah.
Well, I
Um, you
hate saying
know,
that.
you know who I do not think is going to go on the challenge. That would be Ava. Who is next up? Uh,
No.
what do we think about Ava?
Look, I love a quirky girl. I
Hmm.
love Ava as a person. She's fun. I thought she had potential. Last week, she kind of let me down a little bit. I don't know why, and it bothers me because I tried to read people,
Yeah.
but there's something about Mickey that has this girl messed up a little bit with her
Hmm.
strategy, or she's trying to get Rachel all for herself. I don't think it's that. I want to think
Yeah.
it's that, but I don't think it's that. But or she's really her hate for Ashley. I'm not sure,
Well, I think
but
it's that. I
I
do
think
think that's
Ava
part of
has
it.
had so much influence, and she lost me this nomination, at least with her HOH. Okay, we're good. I
Yeah.
like it. I think a lot of people are insulted in the house. I think they're crazy for it, like the ones who are nominated, but they were allies with her. So I think she made great nominations. I just hope, because we pretty sure there's going to be at least one renob, that I hope that she just stands her ground on everything, and doesn't let Mickey get in her head again.
Yeah. Um, Look, people have been very high on Ava for the entire season. I have always had viewed Ava with a bit of trepidation because to me, I felt like it was only a matter of time before things went south for her.
Mhm.
Just in terms of like, at some point, people are going to catch on to her being in a position of power. So people are going to catch on to her being in the middle of things. Like I don't think she
Mhm.
can keep up being in the background for so long, and I think this HOH has proved it. I think kind of like Mickey last week, she has drank too much of her own Kool-Aid and has lost a lot of the power that she had in the house by just kind of being mean to people. Now Ava did that last
Oh.
week too. Well, I think that's part of it anyways, because I think Ava has made her target bigger by making herself as a personality bigger and changing. Um, I don't know if that means that she'll actually be targeted going forward, but I
Mhm.
think it helps her gain. So I don't know. What do you
Um
think? You're looking confused at me. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, I think I can see why she seems mean.
Means a strong word. I was honestly thinking more and like how Mickey was speaking last week, but I think they're playing their HOHs in terms of talking to people somewhat similarly. But Mickey was
Yeah,
way more outright about being
uh,
rude to people.
I
So
just want to put a disclaimer on this last week that we just witnessed. First
yeah.
of all, here's what's been going on in the universe. Okay.
Hmm.
All the women were on their periods.
Oh, really? I did
That's
not know that.
automatically a recipe for disaster
Okay,
when you're
well,
all
I take away some of the things I've said
there's
then.
a
My
Mercury
apologies.
retrograde that ends on Monday, August 11th, which messes things up too. Then there's a full moon today. So you had the pre
Wow.
full moon week. Yeah,
Wow.
the universe was not good. Okay, I'm hoping that's all the issue was.
Okay, well, hopefully that's right. I've been judging the actions of the women in the household, not with that knowledge, unfortunately. So, maybe that's affected some things. I don't know.
I'm hoping that's what I'm giving her excuse for because I don't know what the hell happened to her last week. That was wild. I was not expecting it from her.
Mhm.
Um, her sleeping could be an issue.
Yeah,
She's allowed to sleep more than anyone I've ever seen in the history of Big Brother. And I get that. I think that she's an introvert for sure. I think that she's definitely probably getting overstimulated by all the social interactions because last night she went to bed so early and like Riley was hating on her for it. But I think that is literally exhausting for her, all the social interactions. So
yeah,
I think that the sleeping, she's only going to get what the people she's communicating with right now is going to tell her. And because she has great reads at times, but she's
yeah,
not seeing the full picture. And I think that all the stuff that happening last week really got the best of her. And I'm hoping, but I don't think she's long for this game, but she's definitely fun to watch. I enjoy her, but I don't see her winning. Hot
yeah.
take.
I haven't seen her winning since the start of the week, and this is something I talked about with one or two people. But it's something that I'll ask you because you're a brainiac when it comes to Big Brother. Has somebody who has been as outright quirky as Ava, like in terms of the bushes and the whatnot and other flowers in her hat and whatever else, has somebody like that ever actually won Big Brother? Because I was trying to think and I couldn't think of anybody like
Hmm.
that. So because I was
No,
thinking
I
about it.
mean,
Yeah,
as far as a female,
anybody it doesn't.
I would say yes. As a male, you got Ian Terry.
Yeah, but Ian. So I thought about Ian as well, and like I don't know, he's definitely quirky, but I think he was more quote unquote normal than Ava is. But I don't know.
Um, but yeah, remember, you probably watched him in the episodes though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
had a lot of quirks in the
gotcha.
house that he
Okay.
was doing. Yeah, because people kind of made fun of him for it at times. It's kind
Well,
of cringe.
yeah, I know that. At least in All Stars 2, they did that a lot. So Um,
Hmm.
yeah. Regardless, that's all to say that that has honestly been my biggest like trepidation with Ava is like that's why I think people will catch on to her eventually. Is if Ava, regardless of how good of a position she is, if she's in the final five, I think people will recognize that we don't want this girl getting to the end.
It
I think
depends how
that's a
she
real
gets to the final five.
fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Either way.
possibility she could improve her game, but my gut tells me it's just going to be the same. She go back to sleep tomorrow, next week,
Yeah.
if not on Monday after POV.
Because it's not like she's gonna win competitions. At least I haven't seen reason to think that she's gonna win competitions at this point.
She can't even
So
walk into the veto competition without falling.
yeah. So
I think we've seen her fall like twice at least.
I mean,
Bless her heart.
I'll give her credit. This HOH has been the best of the season, comma so far. Um. So
But she was kind of given this HOA, HOH.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, she was given it. So nobody like. Do you know you know the knockout competition, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Knockout
basically
competition is so cool. It
yeah,
really exposes people, right?
yeah.
And so, um, this is gonna be interesting. I can't wait to. I like to watch the competitions. By the way, I know a lot of life eaters like this episodes are so stupid. I still like to watch the competitions. I like to watch people. So,
Mhm,
anyways, nobody picked her. So
yeah.
she kind of just made it to the end by not being picked, and then she went against Will, and they both like tried to throw it to each other, apparently. So
Wow.
it's like asterisk on this win, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Hot take.
I mean, this is kind of how I felt about Lauren's HOH in a sense, which is them having power actively hurts a lot of the great positioning they had in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Lauren, it was way more obvious because her whole game plan was I'm just going to be in the background. Eva hasn't been that like um, open about that. I'm sure that's part of her strategy, but like I don't know if this HOH was going to help her positioning basically no matter what. And that's all to say that she's made pretty good noms. Like it's not like she's had a bad HOH like Lauren did, comma so far. Um, but I don't know. I feel like after this, there's going to be some eyes on Ava that weren't there
Mhm.
before. So
That's okay.
yeah,
But yeah.
I do think it's okay. I still think, regardless, she's probably in one of the top 3 to 5 best positions in the house still. But
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, she should have done that. She's gonna have so much target." I think if you play with the mindset that you're gonna have it like somebody's gonna be looking at you, I think that's just silly because somebody's gonna be looking at you eventually either way. So
mhm,
I think it's good to at least draw your line and solidify your alliance so they're not questioning you.
yeah,
I think that's
I
stronger.
yeah. Speaking of somebody who drew a line and made nominations recently, let's talk about Mickey. Where do we begin?
Mickey! Look, Mickey had so much she had so much going for her, and I think the game got her and HOitis,
Yep,
and it's still
yep.
continuing. She still thinks she's had a household or something. She's being so messy. She's worse than Ashley with the talking. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her. The episode gave like that. I guess Vinny like talked her into Jimmy. I don't think that's true at all. I guess somewhat Zach, but for me, like just watching it happen last Saturday in real time, um, for me, it was kind of like Keanu and Morgan made this happen. And I don't even know what I was watching. It didn't make any sense. I'm like, how are you falling for this? Keanu,
Yeah.
he wins a veto. All of a sudden, you're like kissing his butt. What is happening here? Um, I just honestly, it was a disaster. It was stupid. One of the worst moves I've ever seen. And I just really wish that on finale, she tells Rachel she was right.
That would be pretty great. Um,
Rachel was right. Rachel, like you, when you're HOH, you want to make the best moves for your game, not other people's games.
mhm,
And there are plenty of people who said, "Oh, but that would be good for my game," to her face, which is like crazy, right?
yeah,
And Rachel's actually telling you what's best for your game.
yeah.
And it's
I
just bizarre.
you said something during that really resonated with me because it was what I was going to say as well, which is I don't understand what happened.
Yeah.
Um, Here's my working theory, and this is
Okay.
me
I
totally
need it.
just guessing, really. During Jimmy's HOH, she and Morgan were saying, "Jimmy, we should be doing this. We should be putting these people up." And Jimmy was like, "Yeah, but we can't do that. We can't do that. We need to do what I say. We have to go with what I think." And that ended up, of course, being a terrible HOH for Jimmy. And
Yes.
and Mickey was there like, I told you what you were supposed to do, and you didn't listen to me. So then what happens when Mickey gets power? She's like, all right, well, clearly the nominations I wanted to do when Jimmy was HOH were the correct ones. So I should just go with my reads and I should believe what I believe because I can't rely on other people to make the decisions for me. And I think because of that, she was so dead set on we had to get out Jimmy that she did the same thing Jimmy did, which is not listen to anybody else.
Yes.
And but unlike Jimmy, I'll give Jimmy credit for this. At least he tried to mitigate some amount of damage the weeks after, and he wasn't constantly saying I was correct, which Mickey has continued to do. I think she's just doubled down on, yeah, of course I was right. I mean, I was right during the Jimmy thing, so why would I be wrong now? Though, of course, she hasn't directly said that. So that's my
She's
working theory.
she's mentally going through it. Her blink rate is just like constant because her mind's constantly running. She's not actually listening to anyone she's talking to.
Nope.
Her I can tell by her blinking. Her brain is just going and going and going. If her brain could just stop and listen, be helpful. I think she has also a lot of jealousy issues. I don't understand
Yeah,
the beef with Ashley. It feels like every time Ashley says something that makes logical sense, she can't handle it because it didn't come from her. And so she just writes it off, which I think is so like, you have to kind of be a little bit more humble. Um, she also uh even though she did this terrible move, right? Worst move.
Yeah,
Oh my god. She was I think she was okay.
I
Okay.
agree
I
with
think
that.
she could have maybe recovered, but then yesterday she forgot she wasn't HOH anymore, or she just became like the watchdog of Ava. And it was bizarre. She's literally going around, she's doing exactly things that she hated Ashley for. And she was creating alliances without telling Ava. And then anytime, and then she's asking people, what are you talking to this person about? Why are you talking to this person? She actually had the audacity to tell Ashley that she basically never expects to see the block. And then when she'd run scenarios with people yesterday, she was making all these scenarios about who would put who on the block, and not a single one had her.
Wow.
She's gone off the end worse than Keanu with the delusions.
It's
I'm
so
disappointed.
it's so fascinating to me in so many ways. And the way that I think it's most fascinating to me is like what was Mickey's strength for the first 2 or 3 weeks? It was being like normal. It was having not a ginormous ego in a sea of people with huge egos who are constantly self-validating, or not even self-validating, but constantly believing that they are superior to others. Let's go through
Mm-hmm.
the list, shall we? Morgan, Zach,
Everyone.
Ashley, Riley, Jimmy,
So frustrating.
Catherine, Keanu, and yes, somehow Kelly. That is 8 people that in this house of six, and not even Rachel. I won't put Rachel on there, but you
I
could
don't
make
think
the argument.
Rachel's too much of an ego, though.
No, I wouldn't say
Comparison.
so. If you looked at week one by itself, maybe, but I don't. I
She
don't know.
does. She seems like it because she puts on a show when she knows she's gonna be on
Exactly.
camera. I just think she's a showman. That's all.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think it's an
that's it
ego
too.
necessarily.
Yeah, but either way, regardless of whether you include Rachel or not, that's at least 8 people that have obviously huge egos in the house. Um, and Mickey was not only not one of those people, but she was also strategically sound and well liked by everyone. And then I, and then like I don't know.
I
May
don't
maybe
know.
maybe it was like a period thing or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't know. But I feel like
No,
the
it's been too
issue is
long.
far deeper than that. It's beyond certainly that at this point. Um,
It could be. It could have been like whatever happening emotionally with her, and then
yeah,
I
yeah.
because there is a moment in my mind that it clicked that she made the wrong decision. Like I could just see it on her face. I don't know how to describe it. It's just a read, right?
Mhm.
And I think that internally it melted her down more, and then her mind because the lash. I mean, that lash is the Well, yeah, her eyes are blinking so fast. It's been more. It's increased in the last couple days, but and that's to me. It happened that moment she realized that she may have done the wrong thing, which not may she definitely did, but I think she's trying to recover in her brain, and she's just melting down. Like it's just crashing, crashing and burning, and
Yeah,
it's just bad because she's flip-flopping crazy. Like, okay, yesterday, for example, she wanted Morgan gonna block. Yes, do it. This morning, she's talking about renoms. Oh, I don't think it should be Morgan. It was like, yeah, it's gonna be Morgan.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah, like her brain, she just it's the Big Brother house, I guess. It's just like she couldn't handle it. But I also want to point out here that this BB blockbuster, I think that one of the things that it's showing us is the strategic capabilities of people,
hmm,
because nominating two and versus nominating three and not knowing who's coming off the block is two different things, and it's easier to nominate two people when one's definitely going to go home,
yeah.
or maybe three if there's a POV. But now you're at 3, 4, 5 with all these things, and it's really showing who's strategic and who is not. And unfortunately, I don't think Mickey is as we thought she was.
Well, that's an interesting point you bring up because I was having this conversation with, I believe it was Noah, like 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
over the very act of the BB blockbuster and having to nominate more people. And the question that came to my mind, or maybe to his mind, either way, somebody's mind was, has everybody in Big Brother just been this bad and we had no way of knowing it? Because think about it. Like, even if you look at this season, the first two nominations for a lot of these HOHs haven't been that bad. Like, you look at
Mhm.
Nikki, you, well, never mind. I don't know. I kind of changed my mind
I
there.
can see Vince is like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was getting at. This was a few weeks ago.
They weren't
Keep in mind.
meaningful.
Yeah. Um, like you could see the argument, and if it's like the third one that messes people up, is what I'm seeing
Yes, yes.
in conjunction with the rest of them. Like if you had Vince putting up, I don't even remember who he put up anymore. Just
Um,
putting up
oh, I have
Zay.
it. Hold on, I have the list. He put up Amy, Ashley, Zay.
Yeah, if he just
Ashley
put
won the
up,
veto, and he put up Kelly.
if he just put up like Amy and Zay and didn't end up putting up Kelly, I don't think people would have a huge problem with it. I think you could obviously critique it, but I think that it would be way more like, okay, it's week one, whatever. And the same kind of goes for a lot of the other
Yes.
ones. Like Mickey's HOH by itself would be not good, but it got worse and spiraled into being one of the worst ever when she put up Jimmy with that additional nomination.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
the question is like, if this had been the case for previous seasons, would we be seeing this in other seasons? HOHs that seem okay because they're doing the obvious thing spiral into being terrible when they have to make, an actual decision in many ways. So I don't know.
Possibly. I think it depends what era you're in because the newer cast people, I could see that. But I think that a lot of the old school players had a little bit more strategy and
Yeah.
more balls in a way to do what they wanted to do. And they didn't care if there was confrontation or anything. Like it was, I don't know if any of them would be canceled necessarily, but they weren't afraid to, call each other names or fight or anything. Like, uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think that they would have been able to handle it okay. Um, but I think if we're just depending on which cast we're talking about here. But again, I think it also comes back to a casting issue. Maybe we should cast people that know the game. That would be
Yeah.
helpful.
It's
Because
kind of
Rachel
funny.
can handle it. I think Rachel will do just fine.
It's kind of funny, not to go on a tangent, but I'm going to go on a tangent about
Okay.
the dichotomy between Big Brother and Survivor and casting, where Big Brother is, constantly, throwing people who basically have no idea what the game is at the game and saying, figure it out, which I enjoy in its own way, even if it leads to situations like this where
Mhm.
nobody knows what they're doing. I mean, I'm still watching, so I'm enjoying it to some extent.
Mhm.
Versus Survivor, which gets all the critique for only casting superfans and only casting people that know the show. Um, and both Big Brother and Survivor have had plenty of rough seasons over the past 5 years or so, and some good seasons too. So it's interesting to me as a big Survivor fan, I almost feel like the grass is greener on the other side because part of me is like, I do wish that they would just cast a few more people who have no idea what they're doing and just see what happens. But I also look at it from the Big Brother perspective of right now, where it's like, how is anybody supposed to figure out what's going on? How is anybody supposed to dissect this house structure and figure out who's in a good spot? So I guess the answer is some sort of balance, but I don't know. I agree with you, is what I'm getting at. So yeah, yeah.
Don't
Um.
look behind you.
Oh, the beat's back. Um. Well, Ava is currently talking to Will about something very
I'm
dramatically.
seeing Catherine one.
Interesting. Um. Well, something happened, and Catherine won. Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, it's the veto. Yeah, yeah.
Wild. Okay.
Um.
Catherine won a veto. We're up.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
We can go
Wow.
to the next person. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We can talk
I
about
got
that in a
distracted. I'm
minute.
ADHD. I was like, oh, I saw
We
their
can.
camera there. Yeah, put your chair in front of there.
Sorry, yeah. My bad. All right. Well, let's at least talk about the last person
Is it
before we
Kelly?
dissect what this means, and that would in fact be
I've
Kelly.
been waiting for this one.
She's still a person in this house, Bobby, and she hasn't been voted out yet. So tell me what you think about her.
I have so many mixed feelings about Kelly. Here's the thing, okay? I
Hmm.
have the human in me mixed with the Big Brother fan in me. I will say first, Kelly insults me. She did not do her homework before coming on this game.
Nope.
I don't know. Again, we're going back to casting issue. What are they doing? Like, please cast more people that, like, I don't know, give them blood on the clock tower and make them play and see if they know any strategy. I don't like.
That's the thing. I've said this a few times. I would love to see some of these people play Blood in the Clock Tower. I'd be fascinated by it. I would love to see Vince play Blood in the Clock Tower. I think it would be amazing.
Quick way to find out if they have, some social strategy in them or not.
Mhm.
But Kelly, she's open, about not knowing the game. Insulted about that. You should have done your homework at least. Tucker, you're idolizing him. Gross. Volunteering for the block. Why? And then I'm like, I think about it. I'm like, okay, why is this girl volunteering for the block? And then I listened to her cry, and a lot of people were, they're on they're skeeting about her being fake about that. But I think it's a little bit genuine, at least when I read it, right? I think that Kelly is trying to fit in. She has very lowest self-esteem in my eyes. And I think that she originally thought putting herself on the block would give her some like street cred. I don't know.
Certainly with Vince, yeah.
Yeah, and that, or like people want to work with her. Like she thought, like that she's part of the team. She's willing to be a team player, that sort of thing. I think that was a mentality. And then the problem is though that she didn't understand the game, where that's not how you play in this game. That's where I get insulted as a Big Brother super fan. And like, so I feel bad, and then she does something to make me feel not bad, and then I'm like, what is going on here? Because even if you put yourself in the block, right, you had like, she's like, haven't had an opportunity to create alliances. That's not true. Okay, because one of the beautiful things about being on the block sometimes is that you can create, you get to talk to people, you get to tell them why they should keep you, and you get to create alliances. I don't know if I should say it's a beautiful thing, but if there's an advantage, that's it. Yeah. And so she doesn't do that. She's like, she's very quirky, I guess.
Certainly.
I just feel bad. It's a very low self-esteem thing coming off from her to me. So I feel bad about that, because I think she is probably a really good person. And she just, the lack of knowledge is just not, she's not going to do well, because she doesn't have the knowledge of Big Brother and the strategy of Big Brother. She's only seen Tucker as an example, and that was a poor example. And it scares me for future recruits.
Yeah, Kelly is a fascinating individual in many ways. I would say that her biggest con in this game is the fact that she is so easy to just move past. You know what I mean? Like, she is important to nobody's game. I don't think anybody values her in the game. Like, full stop. It's sad. It is sad, but I also think not all of it, but some amount of it is self-inflicted. I think a lot of it's not. We talked about the clique mentality, but at the same time, Kelly is going woe is me, but also, causing chaos behind people's back. I think, she's basically given up on even trying to play Big Brother. I mean, she kind of gave up on that from the jump, but she's really sort of pigeonholed herself into this box of like, yeah, I'm gonna win by winning competitions because that's what I have to do. Yeah,
I don't count the veto by herself.
No. So yeah, I don't know. It's like there were a few people on this season. Keanu was the person I just mentioned, but you could make the argument is like, okay, this was the person who should have gone home in like week 1 or week 2, and they're still here, and we don't know what's going to happen. The same you could argue is kind of true of Vince because of how bad his HOH was. I probably wouldn't say that because he's good enough socially, but you could make the argument. But Keanu and Kelly have both sort of played into that, like, how are you still here? Ashley is also kind of fits in that.
They're only here because of those advantages they won.
Yeah.
It's literally the only reason.
Yeah. And now Kelly's just sort of in purgatory, where I don't know what she does. I think she's waiting around to die, basically. Um, I don't know if she can get out of it either. Is the thing. Like even if she really starts trying now, I think it's too little, too late. So
I wouldn't vote for her in the end.
no, I wouldn't either. I
You
would.
don't do that. That's bad gameplay. You kind of it's almost like you floated your way to the end in a way.
I
Even though you've been on the block, you still floated there.
I would vote for Catherine before I vote for Kelly. I would.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, Catherine had one ally, at least. Maybe two if you count Lauren.
That would be a tough one for me still. I mean, there's a lot that can happen from now to there, I guess.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I think I would still go back and forth because until right now, but still, Kelly has won more competitions. I guess she's been bolder. I think if
She's
I was in
been
the house,
bolder.
I would still be a super fan, even if I was in the house, and I would still be insulted. So I take that all back. I would vote for Catherine.
The thing is, if Kelly wins, her biggest comp, at least to me, who's seen far less Big Brother than you have, would be like Jag. That's who she's aspiring to be in terms of winners, is somebody who just wins through competitions and
No
is
one wants to be an asterisk winner.
horrible strategically, and
Yeah.
should have been evicted, but came back. In Kelly's case, because she had the veto, and in Jag's case, because Big Brother 25. So yeah, it's a
I'm so
rough spot.
embarrassed to be a fan in the show.
You know, I'm doing a podcast about it. I should be pretty embarrassed myself, but I'm happy to do it and I'm having a fun time. So there you go. Alrighty, well those are all the people, but I mean, assuming that what you said is true and Catherine did in fact win the veto, what does that mean for us? What
We
does
don't
that mean?
know.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? Do
If
you
she
think
doesn't
she'll?
use it, that would be perfect. One nom.
Yeah.
If she does that, unfortunately, I think they may push it to use it on Keanu, and Ava's gonna have to put two people up. I see two more. I think there's gonna be a 5-person nomination week.
Interesting. Yeah.
It should be. I think this is gonna be fun as long as it's not crazy. So I'm a little nervous.
Here's my thing: is Riley gonna get in Catherine's ear and be like, "We got to use it to save"?
There's a
Someone.
possibility. So it's very possible that Zach reveals what he has,
Mm-hmm.
and they create some kind of alliance. They ask him to use it on Vince, both um Vince and Zach come down, and then Morgan and someone else goes up. It
Yeah.
could be Lauren. I don't know where Lauren and Catherine really stand. They're kind of wishy-washy with each other. So it could be where Lauren going up possibility. She won't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping though that Catherine really shows us something that she can stand on her own. She's not influenced by men and just doesn't use it.
Yeah.
I think it's best for her if she doesn't use it.
All right. Well, we'll see. Do you have any final thoughts, Bobbi?
I have questions here.
Sure. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. So I'm sure you've heard through all the feeds a lot of conversations about jury, right?
Yes.
They're counting who they want in the jury. I just want to make it to jury.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the game of Big Brother, pre-jurors, their stipend they only get for those weeks they're there. But if you make it to jury, you get your full stipend for the whole thing. If you make it a fifth, you get like $5,000 or something, and so on and so forth. There's some kind of little rewards there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is always to make it to jury just because you want that full amount. I'm thinking, except for Rachel, I think she doesn't care about that because she probably has more money. I was wondering, I haven't watched a ton of Survivor, right? I've watched maybe 15 to 20 seasons.
So quite a few. So
yeah, I had to bench them, but But I feel like, and I realize this is an edited show versus me watching live feeds, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of talk about getting on to jury from those people other than just to say you made it to the jury, like for an ego thing. I
Yeah,
don't know. Is there an incentive? Because in Survivor, the people that aren't on jury, they basically get free vacation, from what I understand. They don't go home like on Big
yeah.
Brother. Is there any other incentive for people to make it to jury on Survivor?
I mean, not really. The thing with the jury on Survivor is I feel like more than Big Brother, since Big Brother's all about one person nominating two, three, four, five people, that doesn't really happen on Survivor. If you're at the jury with somebody who's like a number one ally and they vote against you and they orchestrate a vote against you, I'm voting you out, Bobby. If you're on the jury, you'll probably not be very happy with me. When if it's Big Brother, I probably wouldn't have a say in you going home because I wouldn't have nominated you. So I think with Big Brother, there's probably more incentive because you do feel like, all right, as long as I don't actively work to get Bobby out, then she'll vote for me in the end. While with Survivor, there have been numerous instances of whose number one allies did not vote for them at the end because they felt burned because they actively voted them out. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Big Brother, I feel like with the jury is way more loyalty dependent from the little I've seen. So that's my response.
Yeah. I just don't know if it's like the money, I guess,
That
that
that might
makes
be
it so
part of it,
different.
maybe. I never thought of it that way because they really don't talk about I need to get to jury that often on Survivor, all things
I mean,
considered.
they
At
talk
least,
about their jury management, obviously.
yeah,
Why wouldn't you? But
yeah,
to me, it's just like I need this person because I think they might vote for me, and I don't care how I get them there, and they're not even thinking. I don't know, or I just there's some people that's like I just want to get the jury, and I think it's just money motivated, and they don't care about actually playing the game.
hmm,
So that's something I actually do like that I see on Survivor, like for the edited shows though. Let's talk about that,
yeah.
and more about like game.
I do think I don't know how it is with Big Brother, but for Survivor, the jury and like who votes for who, I feel like is way more like it can change at any moment. Like it will
Mhm.
change day to day, week to week. Where I don't know
Do
if
the
that's
preachers
necessarily true.
get more money? Do you know?
Get more money? No, I
Do they
think
get a
they.
stipend for
I
Survivor?
mean, they get money. I think they all get like a few, like maybe $20,000 or something like that. Um, I I don't know, maybe that's more, but it covers, the work that they miss back home. So, um,
Right.
it's something like that. I do know that the higher you place in Survivor, the more money you get. But I don't know when that goes into place. I don't know if it's necessarily jury versus pre-jury. I think it's a little further than that, that like you start getting more money, like maybe 10th place past that and stuff like that. So I don't know the specifics off the top of my head, though. That's
Yeah.
just what I can remember at this moment in time.
Interesting. What do you think? There's also been a lot of talk, and I brought it up a little bit before, but about the respecting the HOA and their wishes at the end of the week. For
HOH, but
me,
yeah,
oh my god, I'm so sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Anyways,
respecting the
yes, for
HOH, yeah.
me, I don't understand it. Back in the day, like they didn't talk about that sort of thing. To me,
Hmm.
you nominate people that's best for should be best for your game, and then maybe you renom someone, and then it's up to the house. But they're putting so much focus on the HOH. These who will be talking to people. They need to be available 24/7. We need to vote how they want. But these people have no power in the next week. Like they mean nothing. Like why are you trying to appease them when it should be what's best for your game? It's just a weird mentality. What do you think about that? Like since you haven't seen a lot of it.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It
What?
reminds me of the challenge where they do the same thing for I feel like
Yeah.
very little reason. But the difference with the challenge versus Big Brother is when people do that, when they're like, I'm gonna respect what Bobby wants to do, and I'm gonna vote for Joey to be put in to the arena or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, it's usually way more alliance dependent and also way more previous season dependent because most of these people on the challenge have literal like years of experience competing with and against one another. And
They
it's
could
an
also
easy,
get that position the next time as well.
exactly, and it's also an easy consensus thing to do. That's not going to get like people looking at you weird. But in Big Brother, that just doesn't really work. Um,
Right.
so I don't know. I guess people think it's the easy thing to do, and since I think it's the easy thing to do, they think that means it's the right thing to do and won't lead to any backlash. But it's like you're playing a game where you're designed to usurp other people in terms of positioning. Like you shouldn't want to conform with them. If I
Right.
was HOH and you and everybody else came to me and was like, "You need to put Keanu up," I would be like, "Well, then I don't want to put Keanu up. Like, why does
Yeah.
everybody want this?"
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? I can't stand it. I just miss a little bit of the old school or a little bit more cutthroat with those kind of things. And then also, there's a new thing that's been going around that the nominee should know the expected person to be the renominee should the veto be used. Like, what do you think
What?
about that? Should the yeah, so basically Zach, he's saying that he should have been able to know who Ava's target is and who she's going to renom should the veto be used. And I'm like, and he's like, literally, he's so mad about this. And a lot of people, yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if they're just saying that just because, but like, what do you think about that strategy? Like, do you think that the HOH should be saying that?
To me, I feel like it's it actively hurts the HOH to completely, like say what I'm planning to do in every situation. Like I think
Mhm.
it's probably a good strategy to go to the nominees before, you turn the keys or whatever else and be like, "Hey Zach, I'm gonna put you on the block. I'm sorry about that." I feel like that's probably a good thing most of the time, not to blindside people like that. But going so far as to be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the block, and hey, if you win veto, just so you know, I'm putting Morgan on the block." I feel like all that does is invalidate a lot of the power you have with your HOH in terms of making people scramble, shaking things up. If I wanted to put the most powerful people in position on the block, if I wanted to put Ava, I wanted to put uh, I don't even know, whoever else on the block. And I was like, by the way, if any of you win, I'm putting Mickey up. That's going to change a lot of people's
Mhm.
perceptions of my
Right.
HOH versus the question marks of like, well, hey, do I want to use my veto that I just won on Ava, or do I just want to keep noms as it is? Like, I don't know. All that does is it helps out everybody else to be better than you at Big Brother. So I don't get it. Yeah.
So you're for them give them a heads up then.
Well, it depends on the person. Like if it's somebody like Riley, who I think will flip out on me and punch me in the face if I don't, then I would probably want to tell him
That should
beforehand.
never be even a situation, unfortunately. That's
Sure.
crazy that you have to think that. But you think 18 minutes before is a good strategy?
Um, God, I don't know. I
When
would
you're rushing
probably
and you're in the mirror putting your makeup on and you're like, "Sorry, let me get my lipstick. Sorry, I have to nominate you."
once again, I
That's
think
crazy.
I think it depends on the person. I mean, the way that I
Just
would
give us
want
a
to,
blind side.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
I
a
don't
little
know.
mess. As a viewer,
It,
I'm like, "Give me the blind side, please."
yeah, it really honestly depends. It depends on who it is. Like I'm totally cool blindsiding somebody like Vince. I'm all right with that. I think if I blindside Vince, that's good television, and he's not going to be mad at me. He's just gonna sob and be like, "Why did this happen?" Which he would do regardless of if I told him that beforehand or not. Somebody like Riley, I'd probably want to tell beforehand. Somebody like I don't know. I guess Zach, I'd want to tell beforehand since he's been so mad about it this week. But I don't know.
I hate like inside me again, old school Big Brother, cutthroat, blindsides. Like we want that kind of drama.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. I don't want someone to talk me out of it. I feel like that there leaves
Well,
a
yeah.
possibility of them talking me out of it, and I just want to be like, if I'm on the high, I'm just gonna do it.
Hmm.
But I'm not in the house. I probably will never be.
Yeah. Any other questions or?
Actually, no. I think we had some questions, but we talked about them as we were going through. So
All right.
that's all I have.
Cool. Well, Bobbi, thank you so much for joining me on this
Thanks for
episode of
having me.
Secretive Moves Lately. We will continue with the Big Brother coverage until I feel like not doing it anymore, and who knows how long that'll be. So with that, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye.